Okay, welcome to Outside the Box Open Forum. I'm your host, Kate of Gaia. We've run into a technical difficulty here, guys. You guys filled up my board. Hey, no harm, no foul. I'm not complaining here. But I can't get either of my guests or my co-host on the air right now because the board is full of phone-ins. So what I'm going to ask, and I will be nice about it right out of the gate here, I love you all. I'm going to ask for people who have computers that can listen in online without the phone to please hang up and do that because you ain't going to have a show otherwise. So that's kind of where we're at. So what I need, you guys, I'm talking, this board is full top to bottom. Carol, East Coast, and Tony cannot call in right now because it was completely full. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is to voluntarily hang up if you for a computer, and the link can be got very easily. I've posted it everywhere. It's on Facebook and what have you. Critical Mass Radio Online to tune in that way. Now I hate to sound like a prick about it, but I'll tell you, if I don't have room on this board in the next minute or so, because that's when Carol and East Coast and Tony's trying to call in right now. I know that. Okay, I'll clear the whole board, and you'll all have to call back in, which is no problem. But I'm giving you guys the option right now. So I'm going to see if we can get Tony in. No, yeah, here we go. Tony can't get in. All right. Okay. Yeah, no kidding, Tony. Apparently a preacher boy's playing because good luck on getting in. One sec. Where are we here? Okay, guys, don't tag me during the show for stupid questions. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right, that are not related to the show. You know what time I'm on the air. Nothing drives me nuttier than that. Okay, where are we here? I just want to see if we've got any clearance. Okay, there's still no clearance, guys, so I am going to go down the board, and I'm going to start wiping out phone calls. All right, so like I said, I'm going to let people volunteer to get off the air or off the phones. Or you're just going to hear me say the same thing for the next 2 hours. Won't be much of a phone call, I promise. All right. So Carol she had to call me on my cell phone. All right, to let me know that she couldn't get on the board. Okay, and just checking to see. No, you guys, nobody's budging here. Okay, fine. So there goes one. I'm just gonna knock phone numbers off here, guys. Two. In order as they come in, and my apologies, but you're going to have to get on the computer to hear this one, because that's just the way it is. 3, and where are we? Okay, just waiting for them to. Yes, and Carol can't hear me either because she doesn't have a computer to listen in on. All right, so I'm looking for the numbers to come in, and there's still nothing yet. All right. If I knock your call off, please do not call back in until give it a minute or two. But get on the computer, because I know a lot of you are going to be listening in and aren't going to be at your phones, and you're just recording it for your own benefit. Well, I would ask, in future, please be mindful of others. 4. So that's 4 numbers, and I don't know if there's anyone else going to try and call in. I'm just waiting to see if Carol can get on the board here. And East Coast. I'm looking for Carol and East Coast numbers. Not here yet. And, okay, what do we got? Okay. All right, so people aren't paying attention, so I'm just going to have to hammer some numbers off here. All right, so there we go. Get rid of that. I'm just going to hammer all the numbers, guys, until I'll keep this board clear until they're in here. So you're going to have to be doing a bit of calling back in. My apologies to everybody, but I can't do a show without my guests. I'm sorry. And if you're not at the phone to voluntarily do this, then you're going to have a lot of dead air. Okay, let's see. Just go with that. That. I'm just making sure because people are calling in. As soon as I get rid of a number, somebody else calls in. So I need to keep this clear. All right. And of course I'm juggling here. Still no sign of Tony. All right, keeping it going, keeping it going. No, this board just keeps filling up. Looking for Carol. I'm going to clear the board, guys. All right, I'm sorry, but I have to, okay, there's one. Okay, looks like I've got East Coast here. And I have Carol. I'm just waiting for Tony. Okay, got Carol. I have East Coast. All right. If Carol's line would open up, that would be great. My apologies to everybody, guys. Can't have much of a show without a co-host and my guest, you know.
Hello.
So, yeah, hey, Carol. I'm still waiting for Tony to get on the board here. And I feel terrible. I hate knocking people off the call, but I said if you want to hear 2 hours of me saying get off the phone, that works. You know, it's up to you. And I'm sure all these people that have called in have computers, or some of them must have computers. And I would ask that in future, if you have a computer and can listen to it online, then please do that versus calling in out of convenience, where you can just call it in and record it or whatever the case is. These are archived anyway, so you don't need to do this. This isn't TalkShoe. Okay, they're automatically archived, like within 5 minutes of going off the air. So we need everyone working together here, and I got to tell you, I love bitching about being popular. All right. Okay, I don't know if Tony has room to get on the board. Let me see if he's trying. Okay, the show's full. Can't log in. Okay, keep at it. Keep at it. Knocking phone calls off. All right, so Tony can't get in here, so I'm just going to continue knocking people off the air here. I hate doing it, guys, but at least if you did put it on the phone, yeah, nobody's okay. So let me see. Let's just go on. I'm going in order of longest on hold. Sorry, guys. Gone and gone. Okay. And I just told him to keep trying. And that leaves me with other issues as well, as far as if we get hacked and Tony gets knocked off and I get knocked off, you guys are just going to fill the board up, and I need people on the computers listening to this. I can't believe we smoked the Blog Talk board here. All right. I'll feel much better once I get Tony in here. Then we'll get this show rolling. You guys are holding up the show, so if you're listening in on a phone and you have a computer, hang up, grab the computer, please. The links are available. Critical Mass Radio Online. Right? You can go to my Facebook, kate.renee.5. I can get you hooked up there, no problem. All the links are right across this planet right now. Okay? So please, I would ask if you would. You can go to Syncrenicity.com for the link for tonight as well. It's www.syncrenicity.com. That is SYNCRENICITY.com. Okay, so I'm going to check here to see if Tony can get in. Because it looks like as soon as I hang up one, other people are calling in. Okay. Let me see. Well, just go to... Sorry, got to knock you off the air. My apologies. And my apologies. My apologies. You know, I hate to knock people off the air. I really do. But I need a co-host. Anyway. Yeah, see, there's another one just call back in. All right. Stop calling back in. If you're paying attention to the show, you will understand that I have a bit of a dilemma here. I can't get my co-host on the air. Get on the computer, please. The show will be available in an archive, okay? There's no panic here tonight, people. All right? So, come on, Tony, keep trying, bud. 15. Okay, he's already had 15 attempts, and it's full again. I am going to wipe the entire board off right now. Good night. If you can't call back in, sorry, I asked. No one's paying attention. Well, you're going to pay attention now. All right, I got a job to do here, guys, and you're slowing everything down. You're slowing it down for everybody. So I'm just going to wipe out all the phone calls, and you guys can try to call back in or get on the computer. Critical Mass Radio Online, Blog Talk Radio, pretty easy to find. You might even have speakers on your computer and everything. All right? Does it sound like I'm getting cranky, Carol?
I think you're doing a magnificent job. I had to do this one time. I had to have my conference call company bump a bunch of people off so I could get on my own call. So
yeah, this.
It's kind of frustrating, but everybody means well and they're all excited.
I know
and that type of thing. Yeah.
That's why I hate doing this. But it's hard enough for Tony to call in the first place. Okay, so let's try to think of everybody else tonight instead of me. Okay. You want to hear his show? You're not going to get one until I get Tony on the air. All right? You're just going to keep hearing this, and this is going to be a great recording for you. So I'm just going to keep knocking phone calls off because it's still filling up as we go. Sorry, guys. I hate to do this, but no one wants to play nice, so I'm going to play the same game you're playing. Okay. Come on, Tony. Let's see where you are. Still no Tony. Stop calling back in, please. Give it a couple of minutes. We're not going to be talking about anything until I get my co-host on the air. I'll tell you what, I'll pull the plug on the whole damn thing. And I've been known to do it. Many times. Okay, you guys. Yeah. You know, and that's the thing about the Blog Talk board. It is so slow. It is such a pain in the ass to get anybody on. Okay, guys, stop calling in. Stop calling in. Give it a couple of minutes. I need my co-host.
That might be new people trying to get on. I had somebody call me before I got on, wanted to know if I'd three-way them in. I said, no, there ain't no way I can three-way you in. I'm one of the speakers on the call.
Well, see, the reason why I have Tony call in separately is because if I go down, I got someone on the board.
Right.
And I can pull him into my call, no problem. But I'm not going to do that because if I go down, the whole damn show goes down.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay? So I need people to, you know, what the hell? Come on. All right, just because. Okay. Sorry, guys. Isn't this fun? Isn't this great? Because no one's listening. No one's paying attention here.
Well, you do know we do have a me society, honey, and that's typical of where we're all at. We're all anxious for everything we can get a hold of. I will tell everybody there's not going to be any earth-shaking news on the call tonight. It got put out over some places that it shouldn't have got put out over today, and we've been by doing that, it put good people in jeopardy, and I need to shut that down. So we'll be talking about other things. So if you're looking for up-to-date, exciting information tonight, that's not what we're going to be giving, okay?
Yeah, well, exactly, you know. Okay. I don't know how long people have known me. I'm on the air right now, guys, so... Tony, okay, Tony's putting messages in the chat room. Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate it. Nice to see team players. Thank you, Brett. Okay. All right. Let me see here. All right. The show goes down, guys. It's because you did not listen. I have to pull Tony in on my call here. Thank you very much, and I'll tell you why I don't want to do that. Because he gets a lot of background noise. So you're going to get to enjoy a lot of background noise. Thank you so very, very much. Here we go. See if I can get him here. Get on with the show. Don't get me started. Not tonight. There you are. I pull you in on mine because some people just can't fucking hear. Anyway, yeah. I almost pulled the plug in the show. That's where I'm at right now, guys. So thank you very much for not listening. Hello, East Coast. How you doing?
I did manage to actually call in, but I was muted out.
Well, I didn't see you on the board, and because you know, as soon as one got bumped off, someone else jumped back in. So, and I can't go up and down the board, so I'm going to actually ask you in future to have the board open as well, so you can help and see yourself on the board. So I'm not trying to juggle you as well. Okay, so Anyway, let's get her rolling. It only took us 17 minutes to get the show started. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your assistance in this and your veritable greed. So there you go. That's your mirror. Enjoy it. So, Carol, East Coast, glad to have you aboard. Thank you for coming in. It's such a wonderful first-time experience.
We're very happy to be here, Kate, and East Coast, honey. Thank you for being here with us too, and everybody is very anxious to hear East Coast, and I will tell everybody on the call that some very sensitive information got out on Skype rooms and Facebook and places like that today that maybe shouldn't have gotten out. It was meant for a private call. And so in respect for the people getting this job done, we're not going to talk about that tonight other than to say there's heavy activity happening. You folks should be very encouraged and know that there are very good things happening, and we're not going to give details tonight, much to everybody's chagrin, I'm sure, because that's why you tuned in tonight and why the board is full. But in respect for the people getting this job done to save lives and everything else, we're going to forego any other information on this particular subject today, other than there are very important things happening. Some of the things that were put out on the Internet and Skype and everything are not exactly correct, okay? So please just make yourself a cup of cocoa, sit down, watch TV, watch what's happening, listen to any conference calls that you like to listen to, but please have respect for the lives of the people that are getting this done, and know that any sensitive information that gets put out that could put lives in jeopardy. So please, 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 I beg of you, I've asked Archangel Michael to protect all those involved, and God and everybody else and all the angels to protect all these people that are bringing this to the foreground for us into our existence. So we're all working for the same thing, everybody. The main thing is to stay in a state of love and stay out of fear, and know that anything that you see on the boob tube is probably disinformation to get you into fear, scare the pants off of you, and don't go there. If you see military in your streets, go home, bolt your door shut, turn the TV on, make yourself some popcorn or some hot chocolate, and sit down and watch the show, because what they're there for, what the military is there for, is to protect you, the good people, okay? They don't want good people grabbing a gun, running out and shooting up people thinking they're being attacked by some bad people. That's not what's happening here. This is a God thing, and I want all of you to use your heads and understand this is a worldwide reset. It has been agonizing to put this thing together and to get all the puzzle pieces in place. So get out of your egos. Understand there are good people that have come forth from many different directions to bring this about, and you're in good care. God is in charge, whether you call God Creator Source, Supreme Being, an etheric, I don't care what you call God. That there is a higher being in place that is seeing this thing, and it's a worldwide deal. It's huge. So get over yourself. You're not the important one, but you are. You're both. You're unimportant in the whole scheme of things, but you're very important in the whole scheme of things. But get rid of the ego. You don't need to be an ego walking around on two legs. It's not about just you. It's about the whole world. And that many people have given their lives for this event, and it's looking very close. I would be very surprised if we don't see something wonderful this week. It might be maybe later, I don't know. But folks, get a grip. Get a grip. It's bigger than you, and it's bigger than me, and it's bigger than anybody on this planet singly. It's a group effort, and we've got to come to the table and protect the good people, okay? So with no more mouthing from me, I'm going to let East Coast come on, and I welcome East Coast. He's a dear friend of mine, and he's such a sweet being, and he knows an awful lot. So East Coast, honey, come on, and let's hear from you, baby.
Well, good evening, everyone, depending on where you're at, I guess. And thank you, Kate, for having me on this first time. And I've known Carol for quite a while. Good friends, became good friends, and she has really has schooled me on a lot of stuff. And she's, like I said, she's a mentor to me and among some other people. And when you can take different things and learn, and that's what this is about, is learning and going forward, because there is no past, and there is no history after we go through this transition. So I would say thank both of y'all for letting me on, and for the very few short minutes I'll be on, and being able to give some stuff out here. And I agree with Carol. I think we're going to probably hopefully see some wonderful things happen here within the next few days, and we'll just kind of leave it at that. So not everything is as you see on the computer or on the chat rooms or everything else. Things are not what you see, so let that rest. There's people bigger than us in charge. Let them do it. That's all you can do is let them do it, because they will anyway. So don't go there. Don't get too excited. Just let things flow like they will. I've been hearing a lot of things around my area, which is around the Georgia area, and we've had some things that have been going on, and I see a lot of things happening, and I can put two to two together just by getting information from different newspapers and online. Yahoo is a great place to get information, because they have just an assortment of things that are put out there that you can just tell is disinformation. And that is a great way to get all your stuff if you want to start to pull the gold nuggets out of this whole thing. Seeing the gold thing happen, in the past week was excellent. I think that was a very, very big sign. Whether it was a last feeble attempt for the bad guys to try to steal, or whether it was the good guys starting to take control of things, it was still a good thing. So there's a lot that has been going on. One of the things I think we had talked about with just a very few amount of people last week was the fact that I have a good friend who is very close to some people. I've been on the Hill, if you would, here in the United States, and I was able to talk in good conversation with this person, and we discussed a lot of things that came abroad, and I think that you're going to find out that a lot of the history that you all have been told, and myself, because I'm still in that learning stage, I'm nobody important. Let me put it to you this way. I just am able to help people and open their eyes and get them on the right track of seeing things that we all see. But a lot of the history that we've all been told has been just one utter complete lie. There is a ton of history that is going to be released that's going to just shock the shit out of everybody. And that's why they're saying, you got to be really primed and ready for this thing to happen, and get it in your sense that it is not a bad thing, it's a good thing, but you got to be ready for whatever comes abroad because of the historical part. The history thing is what's really going to put people on the rocker, and if you can handle that and get past that, then you're going to be okay. But there's going to be a lot of people who will not be able to handle the history part of it, that will not be able to believe that there is supreme beings here, there are aliens in our galactic family, and our outer beings that have come from other places in this universe, in the solar systems, other planets. And this is like the main event. If you ever watch the football season or the big wrestling season, you always come to the big main event, and you got to pay to see it happen. Well, this one you won't have to pay for, because it's going to basically roll right before your very eyes, and it don't matter where you turn. The whole media is going to show this thing when it's taken over. You're going to see it on TV, you're going to hear it on the radio, the newspapers, and it will be ongoing for a long time. The truth will finally be told to you. But we had discussed a few nights back that if anybody cannot get in their head that there is galactics that are here helping us out, they better turn around, put some cold water on their face, and wake up, because there are our star family. They have come to make this thing happen. They have helped take down the bad ones, and this is the blue planet. This is our planet. It belongs to the human race, and there will be no more borders, whether it's in countries or planets. So you will be able to be a totally free person. In the United States, everybody always talks about the patriotic freedom. Oh, we're the land of the free and the home of the brave. No, we're not. We haven't been free forever. In your lifetime, you've never experienced true freedom. You thought you have, but you haven't, because there's so many barriers that keep you from that. And when you go out and you try to borrow money to pay for something that you want, or to at least get food on the table, or get shelter over your head, you're struggling to do that. That's not freedom. In this new transition, we will all have true freedom. There will be no more wanting. There will be only love and giving, and people will have what they need because people are going to learn the good way of how to share and how to help and how to bring this golden age to everyone, not just to a hand select of people, but to everyone. So if you want to hear something that's kind of earth-shocking that I have discovered in the past few days, is that Abraham Lincoln was not killed by Oswald, as you might expect. Excuse me, I'm going to JFK. Abraham Lincoln was not killed by Booth. He was actually killed by his wife. So that's in these little book of secrets that everybody's been hearing about, and all these things have been floating around in our capital. Well, Abraham Lincoln was killed by his wife. Evidently, she was part of the elite families, and she was in tabs to what he was doing and what he was fixing to do as far as getting the United States off the Libra Code. And, well, she's the one that pulled the trigger. This came from an extremely credible source, and as far as going even further back in history, Alexander Hamilton, which is not his real name, is the one who got us our first United States bank, first bank of the United States of America. And the reason was because our debt had run so long because of the war bonds, and both sides of the American Revolution, the British or the Germans, as you might find out, and the Americans were being funded by the elite family in London. And when this all came about, we had to have a bank, so they say. And who helped that come along? Well, Alexander Hamilton did. So he was one of the infiltrators that was in our society way back when. And yes, Thomas Jefferson and so many people that were both Democrat and Republican fought against this. They did not want it, would not hear about it. They wanted everything to be public, not private. And, well, as you can see, that's where it trailed out to be. Andrew Jackson was one of the good presidents. A lot of people say no, he was bad because of the things that he was trying to do with the Indians, and he was trying to hurt some of the North Carolinian and South Carolinian Indians at the time, and take over camps and their reservations. Well, what he was truly trying to do in history was trying to rid the United States of another bank, and also of the elite families that have infiltrated here. So this thing has gone way, way back when. A lot of people have suffered and died, and then the rest of us have been told a bunch of lies to cover it up. And if you can tell by the way that a lot of these people, when they had made different divisions like the Department of Education or Department of Finance, Department of Commerce, those are all corporations. And the United States has been a corporation since 1878. We've had a second constitution. We've been part of that corporation. The East India Trading Company actually made the 13 original colonies corporations in the very beginning. So we've been under this helm for a long, long time, and it's been just, if you're living now, you can appreciate the true fact of what we're fixing to go through, because you will be glad to be on this earth when you see this whole transformation take place. And I guess a lot of us are more excited about the technologies that are coming forth. And when I say that, that's coming not only from some of the people who have been here and have made this technology available, but it has been stolen or compromised. And then you've got a lot of galactics that are bringing their technology too. And there will be no more suffering. That's the good part about it. A lot of people can't believe that this is really happening because they've been in the belief that it has never happened. And so they're taking the negativity and trying to mix it with the positivity, and you've got to get the negativity out of your head, because you are raising your vibration and the vibrations of others when you start to talk about the true knowledge that will come to us, the true technologies that will come to us, the true freedom that will come to us worldwide. So imagine being able to, teleport to someplace else, or been able to grow limbs back that you lost in a war. I mean, all this stuff is available and will be available. No more diseases, no more viruses, no more sickness. We'll have clean water, clean land again. The galactics will help us take care of all of this. There's so much that is going on. I don't know if you want to add on to that, Carol. I think I've touched the galactics pretty well, but I think you have a little bit more explanation about that too.
Well, honey, you've done a very good job. I'm proud of you. And, yeah, a lot of people can't buy anything about the galactics, but there are so many instances of people seeing the starships. We used to call them UFOs and ETs, and what they like to be called is star people and starships. So they're making themselves known to very many people all across the world. And one thing that we all must understand, if we don't believe in them, they are not going to show themselves to us. But they have made themselves very clear. Even my son in South Dakota had seen 5 or 6 of them several years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and they put on a show for about 5 to 15 minutes. I can't remember. It's been too long. He came on my conference call and told about the experience, and 3 different people saw him in 3 different locations that night, so it wasn't just him. There were 3 people there were 3 of him. There was him and a friend and another friend, and they saw them up north in an area where they were. And then one of the spiritual chiefs of the Lakota tribe had seen it off to the east. He and his wife were coming home to the reservation. They were driving west. They saw it, and then the chief's, or the spiritual leader's nephew, I think it was, saw it on the reservation further west from where he was. So 3 different locations saw this wonderful display. I had a friend that was on our calls years ago. He was former Air Force, and back in 1962, I think it was, he was in an Air Force observation station on the West Coast, and he got a call saying, shut your computers down or whatever, or shut something down, and take a look at such and such degree in the sky. And he said that there was a bunch of UFOs at that time that were making quite a display. And he said that on his equipment, he couldn't even tell how fast they were going. I guess 6,000 miles an hour was the limit on his equipment, and they were going faster than that. And they dead stop. They would dead stop, and they'd back up, and then they'd go forward again or do some stuff, and then they vanished, But they put on quite a show for him. I had a gentleman on our call, too, several years ago. He lives up in Washington State, and he knew a gentleman by the name of George Adamski, and you can Google that and find that name on the Internet. George Adamski, this gentleman that was on my call, said he met him in 62, and I guess George Adamski died in 65, but in the time that this gentleman knew him, he was told by George Adamski that at a particular point in time, and it may have been during the time that he was alive and that this gentleman knew him, but there was a starship that was from the Galactics that came down at what might be known as China Lake or Edwards Air Force Base now, and it stayed for a day or 2, and it communed with the people that were there, the honchos that were there. And George Adamski was taken up as the Earth representative to a council meeting on Saturn. And when they got to Saturn, there were no roads or concrete or anything. It was fields of flowers on Saturn. And the starship hovered. It doesn't touch the ground. And so they don't, all these things, the concrete jungles that we have built on Earth are going to be done away with, folks, and that's why we encourage you, when this money comes, when your prosperity packages come, when the return of the IRS funds that you've paid in, when whatever comes to you through your new government, prosperity packages, the Iraqi dinar, which is just a spit in the ocean. Everybody that's in the dinar thinks, it's going to save the world. No, it's not. It's what's happening worldwide that's going to save the world. But when you get enough money, we encourage you to think about moving away from the big cities, because those are going to be taken down. Mother Earth is going to be taken eventually. It won't happen all at one time, I don't think. But little by little, all these big concrete jungles are going to be taken down, And we're going to go back to a very beautiful planet. Mother Earth is healing. We surface people have destroyed her surface. And, you know, these are things you've probably never heard of, and I'm probably rocking your world. But these are things to come. I'm not saying that they're going to happen tomorrow or overnight or anything like that. Gradually, I think. Some people think it'll all happen at once. I don't think that. I think it'll be a gradual happening, and we're going to be going back to growing our own food, living in communities, helping raise other people's children in the community. I don't think too much of Hillary Clinton, but she did make a statement that I do agree with. It takes a village to raise a child. And you know, the dark agenda has gotten us so far away from raising our own children. You know, the schools are our enemy because they drug our kids and they help turn the children away from their parents. Of course, this was made aware. We were made aware of this dark agenda protocol back in the 70s or 60s. I can remember hearing it. They let us know that this was going to be happening, that our children would turn against us and turn us in for different things and so forth. Well, you see it happening. Kids are out of control. You can't punish them. You can't discipline them. You can't do anything to your children to control them. And so it's a society gone mad, if you will. And that's all coming to an end. So, folks, whether you believe me, East Coast, Kate of Gaia, I don't care who you might be listening to that's trying to wake you up and bring you the news of what's going on in this world, whether you believe us or not, please consider it, because that's the beginning. I want you to open your hearts and understand that good things are coming. This horrible stuff that the dark agenda has done to us, little tiny bits over the years. Go to your computer. I want you to write this down. I want you to go to your computer, and I want you to do a search for 1892 Bankers Manifesto. 1892 Bankers Manifesto. And you will see that these dark agenda sons of guns that have done all of this nasty stuff to us, putting people out of their homes and in the streets and all of this. I mean, many of the people on my conference calls have lost their homes. Many of the people have died because they got sick, you know, and everything. But here's the deal. In 1892, the bankers had decided that foreclosing, let's give them their homes, get them all comfortable and everything, and get their trust and all that kind of thing, and then we're going to start foreclosing on these people and get them out of their homes, into the streets, so they can't live, they can't vote, they can't do anything. We can totally control them then. And you will see how methodical these dark ones are. They are horrible, horrible, horrible people that have been controlled and mind-controlled, and they've been done in such a way, the way the dark agenda does it is they take their kids and they'll just love them and love them and love them and give them a puppy and let them love that puppy, and then they take the puppy away from them and they take their love away from them, and they're very mean to them. And then they come back and they're just real nice and sweet, and they give them the puppy again. And they do this over a period of time, things like this. Okay, that's one example. There's other things they do too. But they condition these people to not have any compassion whatsoever. They have no conscience. And that's what you have as the dark agenda controlling this world right now. These are people that don't give a flip about you or your family or your condition or whatever. You are nothing but peanuts to them. And they are so anxious to destroy you. They want to, we've got almost 7 billion people on this planet, folks. And the dark agenda, their purpose has been to kill 95% of those 7 billion people. I'm going to tell you something else that's going to rock your boat just a little bit. Some of you know it, some of you have never heard of it, and you're going to have nightmares over this. I want you to not have nightmares over it. I want you to get in the habit of, when you hear these horrible things, I want you to open your heart and send them love. That is one of the hardest things we can do, and it's one of the very most important things to do. You have to feel sorry for these people that have been mind-controlled and stripped of their compassion and everything. But I want you to know that the reptilian race is very real. And have you ever heard of shapeshifters? Shapeshifters are people that are in human form, but they can shapeshift into the reptilian form. And I heard a story about a lady that worked for George Bush Sr., and one day she went in to his office, you know, she's one of his assistants or his personal secretary or whatever, and she opened the door to his little hideout there in the White House. And here he was, a 25-foot white reptilian. And she gasped, and she's, oh, my God, I'm going to tell the world about this. And he just laughed in his reptilian form, and he said, they'll never believe it. Go ahead, they'll never believe it. Well, there are many of us, folks, on this call and in this world that do know that the reptilian race is real. The Queen, Prince Philip, Prince Charles, Camilla, all these bigwigs, Bush Sr., and I'm not sure, I think Bush Jr. too, and so forth, but they're reptilians, and what they do, well, I won't go into the gory details. You can get David Icke's book, and David Icke's name is Icke. He's got a book called The Biggest Secret, and you can read about all the nasty things that the dark has done, all the sexual pedophilia, all of the sacrificial religious rites and everything. There is so much corruption on this planet, folks, with the Masons and the help me out, Kate. What is the thing just
the
below
Illuminati?
Illuminati and what have you. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The new Pope is one. What is he? He's
Jesuits.
Jesuit. Thank you. The Jesuits are right below the Vatican, and the Vatican takes their direction from the Black Pope, which is known as Satan or Lucifer.
Yeah,
and
let's
so,
Carol, let
what?
Tony jump in. Tony is chomping at the bit here.
Okay, honey, go ahead. I'll be quiet.
Go ahead, Tony. No, not to be quiet. Just want to get Tony in for comments and whatnot. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's just that we've gone through so many topics from East Coast and his information to the information you're giving out now. And, there are a lot of different places during what's been said tonight already that we just shot over the top of the topics instead of looking at them from another perspective. It's like you just said, the Jesuits are under the Vatican. They're not. The Jesuits are controlling the Vatican.
Well, that's okay. Let's not nitpick here, Tony. That was the point was Black Pope, Jesuit. That is the Vatican. Yes. Yeah.
I just published a picture tonight on my Facebook about the similarities. People need to go and see it if they haven't seen it. But basically, the Pope bows down to the top Jesuits. And I've published a book with the actual Pope getting telling off from the Jesuits, and he's bowing down to the Jesuits. Again, there's tons of information on this, but we need to establish who is actually in control and what order they're in.
Boy, we can't hardly hear. We can't hear Tony, honey.
Yeah.
I'm just explaining a few things as in who's in control of what. So carry on.
Again, one of the things that I am enjoying here, just from my own personal perspective, is a lot. Well, not a lot. Everything that you guys have been talking about is a resonant with me, because these are all things that I have deeply researched to get where I am and what I'm doing right now. And it is a fact, because as far as the foreclosures and banks and whatnot, that is part of the 1892 Bankers Manifesto. It happened to me, and it didn't matter if you were making payments or not. You see, because here's the bottom line: they're looking for you to miss one payment. Doesn't matter what a contract says; you miss one payment, and they will come in, because there's 15 to 20 insurance policies, and of course that's where everything goes back to Venice anyway with insurance. That's your mainstay. That's where the true entrapment power lies for Admiralty, because it's a city that's not on land; it's on the sea. And of course, we know Admiralty merchant law is all about law of the high seas. So everything interconnects beautifully here, guys. So carry on, Carol, East Coast. Oh, by the way, East Coast, do you have a Skype? You don't have to give it out, but I was just going to ask if you have a Skype, and I can call you and get that and keep that private if you do have one.
Negative. So we'll continue, but no, sir.
Okay, ma'am, actually, but that's okay. I have boobs.
Sorry about that.
No, it's called keeping it light. You'll get used to us. Don't worry. We're pretty outside the box here, and we have some fun with it. I like to keep people real and keep them not taking themselves so seriously. As my favorite expression. Oh, don't worry. You'll get over me. I did.
You're too funny.
Have y'all ever heard the story behind the signing, the true signing of the Declaration of Independence?
heard a few versions. Let's hear it.
Okay. When the forefathers, our founding fathers, when they came in to Independence Hall to sign the Declaration, of course they were trying to break in to get rid of the king and try to be fully sovereign from England and its ties to the original colonies and the East India Trading Company. People don't know this, but there was 8 presidents before we had George Washington. Okay, these 8 presidents went through pure hell because of the taxation, everything that the king was trying to take from the colonies. The colonies were trying to make themselves a nation unto their own, and I'm going to get to why it came all about here in a minute. But what happened is they were in Independence Hall. The doors were locked, and you have to be extremely belief and spiritual on this, because a lot of people go, nah, didn't happen. Well, yeah, it did. When they were arguing, these men were arguing about signing the Declaration of Independence. They were truly scared to death because what happens to traitors of the king? There you go. So in this argument, which probably ensued about a good 1 to 2 hours, a man appeared in the room and gave a speech about the coming of a new time for the people of the world, and the coming of a new freedom, the coming of a certain golden age that would be as all people of this earth. And he said that America would be the bastion of freedom. It would be the one place where true freedom could be acknowledged, and it would start with the United States of America. His speech so intrigued these men that the first man to run to sign the Declaration was John Hancock. Now, you've heard a lot of stories. John Hancock signed it because he had the first pen and it had the most ink in it, and the bowls were full of ink, but they had to wait 2 weeks because certain people weren't there. Yada yada yada. John Hancock rushed. He grabbed the pen and he signed his name first in the middle of that declaration, bold as anything that you could ever see, because he wanted the king to see it without his glasses on. That's why he wrote it so boldly. And then the rest of the men came up and they signed it too. So the person that did the speech was Saint Germain. And when you look at the ascended masters that have come to this planet now, it's not just the teachers that are here, but it's also Saint Germain. It's also Barack Obama. It's also some other people that we cannot see, or maybe we have seen and didn't know it in our public eye. So they're here, and they're working for us, and they're working to get this job done. And I encourage everybody, don't be so self-centered, and don't be so into one small area of your life that you can't open your mind and open your heart to what is really going on around you. Because if you think that we would have this guy in our office and he would be signing these laws and doing these things that just would hurt us and eradicate us and kill us, and doing it right in our face, he knows better, and so do you. So this president has been doing this stuff to bring us out of our sleeping bags. He's been doing this to bring us to the forefront so we can start saying, what in the hell is he doing? Why is he doing this? What's going on with this? Now, I'm going to tell you another story that has happened. And this is a dream that a buddy of mine told me last week, and I think it just resonates to everything that I have studied and believe in. And now that I hear it, I go, yeah, absolutely. No one knows why our president got the Nobel Peace Prize. Nobody knows. Nobody can tell you anything about it. You've heard rumors and stories again, but nobody can say anything because nobody knows who he is. But he got a Nobel Peace Prize. Everybody's mad and pissed about it. My friend had a dream, and he was sitting in a restaurant, and he was with a buddy having a beer, and he don't even drink beer, but the president walks in with one of his guys, and he says, Mr. President, come here for a minute, and he waves him over, and the guy comes, Mr. President comes over and to my friend, and he says, what did you do Mr. Obama to get the Nobel Peace Prize. What have you done to earn that? And Obama gave him the old knuckle bump. He didn't shake his hand. He just bumped his knuckles and said, my brother, it is not what I have done, but it is what I am fixing to do. And that right there tells me the truth behind the time travel and where he has been and what he knows that is fixing to happen. See, all of this is going to happen no matter what. It's done with. It's not like, oh, well, it's going to stop and we're going to have to go back. We're all doomed. No. It's done with. It's going to happen. The gates are closed. We're in that new dimension now. We just need to start accepting what is happening and fall into the fifth dimension. So the old days are gone. But when my friend told me that dream, I literally was floored. That explains. In his dream, he was given the explanation by the spirits about the true Nobel Peace Prize. It's what's fixing to happen, and it's for the whole world. So any of you who don't believe in stuff like that, wake up. Understand that, yeah, it's happening right before our eyes, and it's the greatest thing that will ever happen to us, the greatest thing. If you don't believe in Saint Germain, go look at the back of a $2 bill, because that painting is very, very old. There is a reason that there is a man with a hat, and there is a reason that the man to his left is staring at him. Everything is there. It's in plain sight. If you can just look and then understand why it's there. If you can do the research and understand. When you go see the Masonic symbols and all these lodges all across the world, they have the G that is printed in the middle of the symbol for the lodge. That stands for Germain, because he and his brother came up with the very first secret society. It was called Knights of the Golden Helmet. They chose that because of the goddess Athena, because she wore a helmet of invisibility so she could trick the bad people, the religious sect, the bankers or whoever, and they chose that because of her. So they created the first secret society to help hide money from the prying eyes of the elitists and the religious sect. So there's a lot of spiritual stuff that's involved with this, a lot. And if you kind of think that, well, we're going to go and we're going to keep having all these same organized religions and all these program religions and everything's going to be the same as it was, we're just going to have money, you're going to be mistaken. Because when the truth comes out, when everything is made known to you, then you will have the choice, because you are truly free of which way you want to go. And by gosh, a lot of people are going to say, I'm tired of the lies. I want to live by my fellow human and not some deity that has been put in front of me that doesn't exist or, has not existed. But your Holy Spirit, your true divine one, does exist. You just have to find him and be able to say, do away with everything else that's been programmed to you and understand that the real is coming into your heart.
Yeah, I wanted to jump on that because there was something that I'd put across to a friend of mine today, and here it is in a nutshell, guys. This is the religion that we've all had rammed down our throats for our entire lifetimes. And I'm going to use probably one of the best known verses the Bible ever had in it. And I'm going to show you exactly what this deity that this church worships is all about. Here it is. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Okay, 1, for God so loved the what? Oh, right, the world. Not you. No, not you. All right, so that's 1. 2, gave up his Son? Okay, wait a minute. That's a good position to take. Let me see. That is the position of a coward, to send your child to die for something you should do. I don't know about you, but I would die before I'd let anyone touch my children. So there's your penis-bearing, gray-bearded, patriarchal nonsense creation. And of course, they took all the feminine out of the Holy Trinity: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Pardon me? No, it's more the Mother, the Father, and the Child. And of course, the Mother is the Divine Holy Spirit, and they stole that too when you register your child to rule the creative divine feminine essence spirituality. So that's what you did. You gave up mind, body, and soul when you registered. So there you go. Just wanted to throw that in there just for, nice little dig at the Vatican. Oh, and something else. Cygnus trumps it. At the end of the day, Because when you look at what the Vatican has in all of their paintings and murals and everything else, it's all about the Orion Nebula. It's all about Orion, the belt. And by the way, I do believe that's probably a good source of reptilian aspects. No, my friends, the Orion's belt does not line up to Giza. It's pretty close, but I'll tell you what does line up to Giza. Cygnus. The swan. So would you rather be tied up with a belt or fly like a swan? Sorry, I'm turning this ship towards Cygnus because Cygnus trumps it. Done. Carry on.
I want to make a comment. You guys are just terrific, but I'd like to get my little 2 cents in here about the religious aspect of it, because I've tried to bring some enlightenment to some phone calls, conference calls of the dinar aspect, and these people are pretty darn well closed up in their little box, and they demonize me all the time. And one gentleman on one call one night said I didn't know anything about the Bible because I believe the way I do. I want everybody to know that Carol of the Worldwide Lightworker family was a born-again Christian all her life. It took me 10 years to make peace with reincarnation, and when I did, it was like 20,000 pounds of concrete block lifted off my shoulders on why a child would be born blind or crippled or whatever. And if a child is born blind, it very well may be that they were one of the dark ones in the past incarnation that put people's eyes out to punish them. How do you like that? So they have to come back and figure out what it's like to be a blind person, what they did to another human being. I also know a lot about the Bible. I don't know it as well as some people, but I do know a lot about the Bible. There is a lot about the Bible that is really wonderful. And I do direct people to 2 Kings in the Old Testament. Go there. Start from the very beginning of that particular book, 2 Kings 1, where Solomon was made king, and he prayed to God, and he said, please, God, give me knowledge, wisdom, and discernment. And he was the greatest king that ever lived, supposedly. But then, of course, toward the end of his life, his feet became like clay, and he made a misstep, and he kind of took himself down, I guess. But I like to add love and compassion onto the knowledge, wisdom, and discernment, love and compassion. I think that kind of rounds it out for me. But the book of Revelations is a great book. It's a great book from the Dark Agenda, telling you what they're planning to do to you.
I've said that for a long. I was going to say I've said that for a long time. I mean, the Bible is the most perfect truth book and the most perfect lie book, but it is also the most perfect play and rule book.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's how it works.
Absolutely.
As I was a Christian, I was a pre-tribulation rapture person. Okay, so if you folks think because I believe the way I do now that I don't know the Bible, get over it. For Christ's sake, get over it. I believe that if I was a wonderful Christian and believed in Jesus as my Savior, my Lord and Savior, and I believed in God and the Holy Spirit, which I still do, okay? There's little niches that I disagree with, but I still revere God, and some people call him the Creator Source or Supreme Being or whatever. Anyway, I
just call her Mom.
I love it. Yeah, okay. That works for me too, baby. Anyway, I believe that because I was such a good Christian and believed in Jesus Christ as my Savior, that I was going to be caught up in the rapture before the tribulation of 7 years started. And then that way I wouldn't be here for the first 3.5 years of really wonderful stuff that's going to happen. And the last 3.5 years, it's going to be hell on earth, and everybody wants to die, but they can't die. The only way that you can die during the last 3.5 years of the tribulation is to have your head cut off as a tribute to Jesus Christ. Now, isn't that a beautiful picture? Isn't that an unconditional love thing from God that loves you, that created you, and so forth? Do you suppose that God is behind that kind of activity? I don't think so. And I did for many, many years. I was part of the captured. I was part of the programmed. But I have broken free, and my God, our God, there's only one God, whatever you want to call him, her, whatever, there's only one. And that Creator is a unconditional love God. He's not bloodthirsty, okay? He doesn't want your blood. He wants unconditional love for you. And if you don't know about unconditional love, what was your first love? Well, if you've ever had a pet dog, dogs are the best. They love you unconditionally. They're God's little emissaries. If you ever had a pet dog and you came home from work just bitchier than not, and you come in the front door and you push him aside, and you go get a beer or a cup of coffee or something, turn the TV on and try to work through the anger of the day, trying to support yourself and your family, that the dark agenda has programmed that you have to have three jobs now to keep a roof over your frickin' head. And this poor little dog that loves you unconditionally, 5 minutes later after you sit down, he wags his tail and he comes up and he puts his chin on your knee and he looks up at you with those soulful eyes. I love you, my owner. I love you with all my heart, and I'm sorry you feel so bad. That's unconditional love, everybody. Learn about it. Get into it. Love everybody. You don't have to like them, but love them because they are human and they have red blood flowing through their veins. They are part of us. Shakespeare said the world is all a stage, and all the people on it are players in the stage. If you know anything about having a play, like I was in a play in high school, and after the run of the play, 2 weekends usually, and then you have a cast party, everybody that played the good guy and the bad guy, they get together and they have a party. And they laugh and they tell jokes and they reminisce over the rehearsals and all that kind of stuff. That is what is going on. There are people that have come in here to be bad people, to try and take us over. And there are people here that are good people. And we're all actors on the stage. And you've got to get over the fact that there's good and bad and just hate the bad. No, love the bad. Learn the law of one. It's on our website. It's on our internet site, the law of one. And this is how it goes. If you don't mind, Kate, I'll repeat it. It's not long. But we say it every time we have a call, and everybody learns it because they repeat it after me. It goes like this. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask that only the highest good for all concerned happen. And I give thanks that this is done, and so it is. And that's what it is. And when you get in a tough spot, if you'll repeat the law of one, it will help immensely. It will not only help you and the people that you're praying about, but it helps the whole universe. That is a universal prayer that supersedes all prayer, and it works for everybody. And, you know, when you talk about Christianity, what really gets me about where I was as a Christian, Christians tend to pray for only Christians. Isn't that amazing? Christians only pray for those that are Christians. They don't pray for the Muslims. They don't pray for the Buddhists. They don't pray for the Catholics. They don't pray for the Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't pray for the Mormons. They don't pray for the Baptists. They don't pray for anybody but their Christian fellows. And I find that to be atrocious. I think that's horrible. If you have a Christian loving heart, why not pray for everybody on this planet? We are all here for a reason. We're all working through karma that we had in past lives. We're here to do better work, and we need to love each other as human beings. You may not like certain people. You may not want to be around them. That's another issue, but that's not what love is about. So when you pray, dear sweet people, pray for everybody, please. And I'll turn it back to you, Kate.
Yeah, that works. Again, we have to be mindful of each other. We do this together. No one's getting out unless we all get out. That's how it works. I did want to have a little announcement here. We're probably going to crack 100,000 on the call tonight. We're at 94,200 tuned in right now. So,
cool. Can I take it a different direction, if I may?
Oh, please take the wheel. There you go. Woohoo!
Well, let's talk about when the transition happens. Now, me and Carol have told many people, and Carol will probably chime in with this too, but do not go out and start a rush at your bank. Your money is best protected where it is at because it has been recorded. The good guys know what you have, where you have it. You know, they have all this stuff because they have had to do this. They have put themselves in a position where they are protecting you, so when this thing comes, you don't lose everything. You're going to get even more back. You may have to have some provisions for a couple of days. You know, you may have to just have a little bit, like some coins on you that you can spend if this thing runs a few days, like if you want to go to the store and buy bread or gas or whatever. The FRNs, the notes that you have in your pocket right now, will be toilet paper. You can flush them. They will be no good. So if you start getting your money out, then you'll have to explain where you got that money. It'll look like it has been laundered. They will probably even say, well, if your cousin was a banker, then you stole this $10,000, and now you want to trade it in. It'll be the same system all over again. Leave your money where it's at. You'll be protected. That's, this whole transition, especially with the Reformation Law, it's called NESARA, the National Economic Security and Reformation Act. If anybody does not know about NESARA that's on the call, you need to go research the National Economic Security and Reformation Act. It is now law. My buddy saw the president sign his name in 2009. So it is law. It has been done. The original members of Congress made it into a law in the year 2000. It was going to be announced on 9/11. So now you know what happened on 9/11. But all of this stuff with the Reformation Law is going to come about soon, and I mean real soon. So we've been talking about it for weeks and months, but it is here. So just, be ready, like Carol said, be ready for things to really start rolling pretty shortly. But the one thing, too, is that you need to look out for, and you may have seen some of the stuff starting to break over the past couple of days with the Middle East, but when you start hearing about the arrests are going to happen first. And then you're going to see the crash of the stock market. And that'll be the one good key, too, is when you start to see the things really tumble with the stock market, and then you'll see the president get on and start making the announcements about the new U.S. Treasury, and that once that is announced, then everything goes into effect. It's like a flick of the switch. And when the flick of the switch happens, you have the new Treasury Department. You're going to have the announcements about the Reformation Law, the NESARA Law, and its enactment. The original 13th Amendment is going to be the big one. That's going to be the coup de grace. This thing is not just about money. It's about making things right and putting us back into a position where there's no evil ruining our lives. And that original 13th Amendment, called the TONA, the Titles and Nobility Amendment, is the one that's going to make that stick. We have to have that original 13th Amendment. It is so important. So everybody needs to really, really start doing the research on that. And honestly, if you want a quick rundown of how it was taken away, well, when the British came in and they destroyed the library in Washington, the library in Virginia, and they burned the whole darn thing, they didn't steal. They didn't burn the TONA in the original paperwork there. They stole it. They took it and they brought it back to England. It was kept in a lady's family. The original one, the original Constitution with those original 13th Amendments of 1810 were there. And David Dodge and Tom Dunn actually were able, by fate, and everything happens for a reason, folks, but they were able to get with this lady, and she gave them the original documents through a trustee, and in 2000, it was made and stamped that it was the original 13th Amendment. And that is why you've been seeing all this crap about the Lincoln movie. I mean, if you've noticed, so much crap has come out about, well, the Lincoln movie. Oh, we're going to do a documentary on the Lincoln stuff, Lincoln this. And they always attach the 13th Amendment of slavery to that. They make it a point to, well, that's Hollywood, because Hollywood is lies. But if you look at the original and understand the story behind it, you know it's fixing to come out. It's part of these secrets that are fixing to be released to us all. So NESARA is real. My person who was in my Congress in my state admitted to me that it was real. There was no explanation. There was no deep down discussion. It was just an admittance that it was real. And that should tell you all enough right there. But, when this thing comes into play, they're going to tell all about the Reformation Law. And it is so huge. It is so groundbreaking. It is the biggest thing for us to help all the people in the world. No wonder they wanted to hide it in 9/11. And we probably had 3 or 4 other instances where they tried to announce it. Well, they tried to do something to divert the attention on it too. So this thing is coming out. It cannot be stopped. And Carol, you want to expound on that for a few minutes while I go take a break?
I just want to...
Actually, yeah, I want to jump in here too, but go ahead, Tony.
Well, you go first, and then...
No, you go ahead. I got lots of fun to come with. Go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to be open about this, so I'm just wondering, this information that you're getting, I'm just guessing. You've said a heck of a lot tonight, and you've covered a lot of topics, loads of different pieces of information. So what I want to do is just pick on a couple of pieces of that information and see if you can give me some details about that. This financial situation that everybody's going to get paid and it's all going to be wonderful and it's all, and all of that. Just give me an idea what type of money is going to replace this.
Well, Tony, you've heard of the prosperity packages. Those are things that people signed up for and in most cases paid some money. They did not know the scope of what they were getting into. Those things have been closed down since about 2002 or 2003. So the big prosperity packages are not available. John McAfee from NasaraNews.blogspot.com has put together a group of people that are heavily invested in Iraqi dinar, and he has started a fund. That's something different, okay? They're looking for people to donate to that fund and also people that need donations from that fund. So that's a new one. That's not necessarily one of our prosperity packages as we know them, us old-timers, okay? There's new things on the horizon that are not part of the prosperity packages. So there's individuals that have set up different things. Whether those things will materialize, we don't know. There has been news from the White Knights or the A-Team, whichever you'd like to call them. They're known as both. That the IRS will be refunding every penny that people have paid into the IRS. And I presume, I don't know this for a fact, Tony, but I presume that since there is a huge computer worldwide, it's not the one that was mentioned before in Oklahoma. There is a bigger computer than that that has tracked money from all over the world. And I presume that any monies that have been paid to the elite, if you will, the Queen, the different governments and that kind of thing, taxes, if you will be returned to the people. That money has been tracked. Now, I don't know that money is going to come out immediately. I think it might be several months before that comes down, but I'm not sure. The Iraqi dinar is like a spit in the ocean. It's nothing, and everybody's attention has been on the Iraqi dinar. I do not read any news about the Iraqi government. It's nothing but smoke. They have been told to make up stories until the White Knights have this worldwide thing settled and ready to pop, because no monies are going to come down the pike until Nasara is ready to be announced. And there is very little good information on the internet. The dark agenda has filled the internet with disinformation about Nasara. There is a gag order on Nasara. Anybody in the media or in the government that talks about Nasara is threatened with treason, okay? They want it quiet. So those of us that are not under a gag order, we have found out things through different avenues, and we have been willing to talk about them, to let the people know. And ordinarily, not very many people get to know, so other people think, oh, that's just a farce, and they say, oh, because I can't see anything in writing, no documents, it's a scam. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, I've been at this a whole long time. My conference calls they will be 9 years old in September, so I've probably been on a conference call longer than most. And I've been doing this type of work openly since '98, but I have been groomed for this job since I was a child. My mother was involved. Little did I know until I got older, and she was gone many years before I was able to put it all together. But I have been chosen to do what I do. And you can believe it or not, and I don't ask you to believe anything I say. I put it out there, and it's for you. If you want to believe it, that is fine. I'm not going to convince you that I'm right, because I could be wrong. I'm human too. Don't forget, we all have feet of clay. So I am reporting what I have been taught, and that is something that has resonated with me, and I've prayed over it, and asked God to make sure that if I'm putting out disinformation that He catches me on it and makes me very aware of it. I can tell you many stories where God has stepped in and got my fat out of the fire with different people in my life and that kind of thing. So I feel I've been very protected. But this business of Nasara is a real deal, and the money coming is not going to be, there's rumors out there that everybody's going to get $1 billion or $10,000 a month for 10 years or something, some dumb thing like that. I don't know. I know where some of it comes from because I had to take them off my call years ago. and they're scam artists. And so don't believe everything you hear. Let it resonate. Ask God. You've got a 24-hour-a-day connection with your Creator. Go to Him, her, and ask to be enlightened. Ask to quantify the information you're getting. Everybody's not going to believe it. Some people will believe part of it, and some people won't believe any of it. It's all individual. There's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, okay? And so go to your higher source, your higher being, your Creator God, and ask for guidance. Do what Solomon did. I want knowledge. I want wisdom. I want discernment. And if you feel like putting love and compassion like I did in on it, do that too. But get guidance from your higher self, okay? And don't rely on we people to give you the final word. You have to do it in your own heart. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't take it. It's not yours. I equate all this stuff like a smorgasbord brunch. You're walking down the line of all this food, and you just take on your plate what looks good to you, and you leave all the rest behind. Do that in your spiritual walk, everybody. Do that on your soul path. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. Keep your heart open, because if you hear it, maybe there's a reason you heard it. Don't negate it. Don't say, oh, I don't believe that. Blah, 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 blah. That person must be a demon. Blah, 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 blah. Now, don't do that. Leave your heart open and say, God, or whatever you call God, please help me to understand, is that for me or not? And if it is for me, will you please enlighten me and put the right people in my path so I can be enlightened even more? Do it that way. And don't crucify everybody that comes down your pike with information you've never been subjected to. You might be wrong. It may be correct information. But these prosperity packages and everybody, the money, not everybody in the world is going to get $10,000 for every month that they live for 10 years, for crying out loud. Be reasonable. Stop and think about that. That's bad information. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think that's going to happen, Tony. I'm sorry. I hope that helps you, dear one. Any other questions of me?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to find out if this is going to be some kind of electronic currency, or whether we're still talking paper, or whether it's going to be based on labor, gold. What type of monetary system is being presented to us here tonight?
Okay, this is going to be a precious metals-backed money. It's my understanding, I've been taught, that our money in America will be backed with silver, gold, and platinum. And I think, now some people don't agree with me, I think the price of those particular metals that back our currency are going to be stabilized, and they won't be fluctuating all over the place. Now I've been told by other people that they could go really, really high, and so it's a wait-and-see type of thing. But in my mind, equating the parameters of stabilized economy and currency, I would think they would stabilize those three metals, those precious metals.
Okay. Right. Let me just comment on that for a moment, please. Gold.
Boy, we can
isn't
hardly
rare.
hear you, honey. Can you get closer to your mic? It's really hard to hear you.
Let me just make some adjustments here, because I'm trying to communicate this stuff, and it's so we've got microphone. Yeah, I'm absolutely maxed out. I can't get this microphone any higher.
It's better. Okay. Right.
That's the best I can do. Okay. So what you're saying is this new monetary system is going to be based on, i.e. words, platinum or gold or silver or something that's a rare metal. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you. What I'm saying is, what I have been told, that our money in America is going to be precious metals backed, and I've been told it's silver, gold, and platinum.
Right, okay. So what you need to understand firstly then, can you hear me okay, Carol?
I can barely hear you, but it's kind of muddy, but I'm working real hard at listening.
Okay, well, one of the first things that we need to understand is there is no shortage of platinum, gold, silver, or anything else. So therefore, any monetary system that's based on something that's kept rare deliberately is a fraud. Money should be based on labor.
On what?
Labor. Effort. Work.
Labor, okay.
So what I'm saying to you is, we've been fooled for a long, long time to say that there's a lack of oil, there's a lack of energy, there's a lack of gas, there's a lack of gold, there's a lack of diamonds, There's a lack of something always to base a monetary system on. If the truth was told, we would be told there's not a lack of anything. We have abundance of everything. And therefore, how are we going to base a currency on a metal that's actually abundant is beyond me, because it's never going to work. So whoever told you that information has not given you the details. We can
you're the first person I've ever heard this from, sweetheart, and I'm not doubting what you say, but I'm questioning my information, both yours and theirs, and I thank you for that.
Absolutely. Well, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get down to the bottom of this as well, because I want to know I want to know the details to see if the person telling you the information is telling you the truth and us the truth. So by asking the right questions and by being aware of the correct answers, you can easily do that if you've taken the time to educate yourself to a massive degree, which we have. So that's why I was asking that question. So that's one question. And at this point, I'll step out and just let Kate say something, because I feel...
Yeah, I was gonna ask if I could, have a couple of cents worth here. Okay, my stance on it is very simple. Anything to do with money in any system whatsoever is a trap. End of story. Money has been the trap and the illusion for so very, very long. Because truth of the matter is this: we have the technologies. Let's call them replicating machines or whatever you want. They've even got 3D printers now. Imagine that. So they're kind of easing us into this whole notion of Earl Grey, hot black, Picard style. You don't need money. I never at any point saw anybody on the Enterprise walking around and looking for a wallet. One, for ID. No, they didn't need it. And two, for money. They never used it. Everything was there because everything could be created out of the ether. So money is totally useless. Absolutely, it has been the trap of mankind since it was came into inception. Anything like East Coast, you were talking a lot about the 13th Amendment and all the rest of it. My reaction to that is very simply this: okay, well, that's great, and I understand that that's a very U.S. thing. However, it doesn't alleviate the spiritual contract called birth bond. Now, see, what I'm interested in is seeing what is going to get done about these reptoids in the City of London. The Bar Society, Bar Association, right? Because we're dealing with something of a higher magnitude. If we're not taking out, the Black Pope and the Jesuits and all the rest of these entities, we're still going to have the same old. And I guess my question or questions revolve around taking out these darker energies. You see, because whenever things come up, and I'm not going to negate or agree with anything and everything or nothing that has been said tonight. I remain completely neutral, and I'm the devil's advocate. I will throw it out on the table, because I'll tell you, money does not and never will ever resonate with me. I was in gold and silver for 20 years. I could tell a market and know exactly how they're manipulated. I could set my watch to the turn of the clock on when the New York market opened as to what happened on the Asia's overnight, because I did. I watched it. It was a hobby. It was fun for me. And silver, as a matter of fact, was the one thing that kept me alive until it ran out. And here I am. Right, 3 years later, it ran out. But I understand there's going to be a transitioning period. So, and that's one of the things that I do want to bring into the equation, not to be a party pooper here, but there has to be a form of a transition, because we're going to be dealing. You take down the economic system, which that's exactly what the elites are trying to say they don't want or do want, but they don't want it, because it would just nullify everything that they've got put together. And again, it goes back to the gold silver thing, and Tony and I had a chat about that earlier today, about gold in particular, about what gold really is. It is an abundance, because they've trapped a lot of souls in it. That's what gold is. You're trading in the souls of others. So that's why any money backed by gold or silver, for me, is more spiritual contract, and I want nothing of it. I want nothing to do with it, for it, or anything. We have the technology. That technology gets released. That's the only thing I'm interested in, to get us back into a condition of prosperity without money, because money is the root of all evil. It's been said, and it will continue to be said, and there is no one that is ever going to shake me off that foundation. I've studied it too deeply. I've watched it too far back, and I understand the real histories of it. My only concern on it was the purpose as to why it was implemented in the first place, And why? Oh, they say gold because it's rare and pretty. No, there's a bigger, more sinister meaning behind gold. And gold, to me, is trapped consciousness. We are trading in the souls of ourself. Just my thoughts.
Well, let me respond to you, Kate, on this, because I've done a lot of thinking on this, too. I'm not as learned as you and Tony about a lot of things. That's obvious. But one thing I do believe, and that is that humans do not like change. It's been my observation that the only way to change a human's mental path is discomfort to their mental path and their walk. In other words, humans will only change if their comfort level is disturbed. And so I agree about the replicators, that 3D copier, photocopier that's producing guitars and wrenches and all kinds of things now. That is a method that they are using to introduce this type of technology, because I don't think that the human mind can accept this magnificent of a change all in one swoop. I think it's going to be done gradually. And I think that this new money system that's being brought out worldwide, every country having their own currency and so forth, I think this is a step. And I agree with everything that you and Tony are saying, but I think it's, I think that, I don't want to use the word premature, but I think that you guys are at the end where it's going to be wonderful. I think there is, like you said, a transition period where we are being brought along as mere humans that can't handle change, so that we are gradually being focused. Do you see how the dark agenda has taken over 100 years to get our homes away from us? They've taken over little tiny increments. I've watched this system since in the 60s when I was a young mother, and I've seen how they take our freedoms away from us. Little by little, by little by little. And they know that humans do not like change. And so if they make the increments small enough, then the humans won't react to it. Well, we're going to be reacting to things because it's going to be done a little bit stronger than just little by little. But I think there are different transition periods, and I think this new money, precious metals-backed money, might be the first transition. But we definitely have talked about on our call about bartering. You're going to live in a community where you're going to grow your own veggies. I may be growing cucumbers and melons, and I'll trade my cucumbers and melons to you for lettuce and tomatoes.
Okay.
You see,
right.
And I think that's where we're headed. I think that we're going to be out of the money system in so many years. I can't tell you. I used to think 5 to 10, but I've heard some people say 20. I don't know. It could be sooner than that. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, okay. No, I understand where you're coming from, and like you said, as far as you just explained, there's got to be a period of change. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that we may indeed need a bartering system in the meantime until we get abundance back, which has actually been kept from us all along. So I understand where you're coming from there, but I'm just saying that I'm trying to tackle each piece at a time, but there's just so much of it. We're not going to be needing money, as Kate says, because if we knew the technologies, my God, I could walk you through some of the technologies that not only we've had, we've lost, that have been hidden. We can put seeds in a pyramid, and we can have the seeds yield 300 times what the planet would have yielded. 300%, should I say, increase in growth. Japan has taken seeds up into space where it's been exposed to cosmic rays, brought them back down, grown these plants, and they are monsters because they've been exposed to the cosmic energies that this planet has been cut off from so long because of the decapitation of the pyramid. Kate and I talked about this tonight. But there's much more information yet to come. Hydroponics, aeroponics, aquaponics, using excess vitamins, nutrients, oxygen that can be added to grow systems to produce far more food than we actually need.
Well, let me take it to the next up to the next level. The simple fact is, part of the DNA program of the control was to make us have to eat, which is something we shouldn't do anyway. So I'm going to keep this ball rolling further ahead. I need people really getting outside the box on this, because I see an entirely different universe. And that universe...
Well, yeah, living on light. We've talked on our calls about living on light, where you don't need food.
We don't need to live on anything. That's the point. A true ascended master doesn't, and we are light. So what does light? If you are source, what you don't need to consume light. That's been the problem. Is we have been consuming.
Excuse me, Kate, honey. Excuse me, please. Somebody is on the open line that's coughing and sniffling, and if they would hit star or they hit mute button, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much. Excuse me for interrupting you, dear.
That was actually the door behind me opening, so I that happens fairly regular. No worries.
Can I take?
Yeah. I'm pretty much done there. But again, this is about light. We are light. I mean, some pretty cool cat told us that. God is light. Ye are gods. So again, when we're in a consuming mentality, we are trapped. If we feel that we need to consume things instead of create things, we are working on the wrong side of the mirror. That's it. For me, anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, there are plenty of ascended masters that manifest stuff. So, yeah.
I want to add a little something into this, Kate, if you don't mind. And I'll say this piece, and then I'm going to sayonara for the rest of the night. But a lot of people don't know this, but when Saint Germain created the United States of America, now this is going to tie in everything about consumers, the gold, and everything. This is going to be historical, but it's going to tie in all of that. When he created the United States of America Declaration of Independence, when he was a key in making that happen, he had tried to create in the United States of Europe years before. And the hierarchies and the monarchies of Europe wouldn't see it. They wouldn't have it because that was where the elitists were stationed at. So what he did was, because of the bloodshed and the Rothschild family, he decided to bring it over to America. And he was able to help instrument this to become and make it happen. And therefore, we had the United States of America. It wasn't just because of a handful of colonies wanting to get away. This ascended master had a lot to do with that. Now, when this transition happens, we were told a few years ago by one of the white knights that when this thing happens, that a lot of these countries, maybe all of them now, will want to adopt the United States form of our Constitution. Not the same one, but a form of it, to where we have some of the great bylaws in that Constitution, including that 13th Amendment. And you'll see all of the bar-associated people go away and go work somewhere else for a living, or you'll see the documents that are your birthright, like your birth certificates or your Social Security numbers. All that stuff will be dissolved. It'll all go away. You'll go back to the original common law. And if all these countries have chosen that, then when people have an abundance of what they need as far as their wealth being handed back to them and the re-indexing of all the goods and products and the land and the homes they have, all that will be re-indexed down 90%. So people will have their stuff paid for. They will have plenty of money, as you want to call it. And then they'll start saying, well, I want to go help this guy out. And when he says, I want to pay you, the worker will say, well, I got too much already, but hey, I heard you can bake, or I heard that you have a field that's got some good tomatoes in it. So how about just give me some of that? And then that's how your barter system will start to work, is people will have enough of what they really, really need to buy something, but then as time goes along, within the next 20, 30 years, that will weave itself out of the picture. And like you said, these other things that we don't know about, as far as being built of light ourselves, we don't need food to survive. We need the vitamins from the sun. That's all going to be coming out. We'll all start to see and feel that. So there you go.
I wonder if did Kate get dropped, Tony?
No, it's all right. We've got a couple of problems at the moment. The processor on this computer, for a start, is cutting out. So okay. I've got a couple of problems there, and Kate had to duck out for a second. She's just got to get a couple of things done. But no, I mean, I'm open to this information. I'm very interested in hearing more about it. I've heard about the white hats. I've seen the reports on.
Wait. Let me stop you, Tony. The white hats are not the white knights. The white hats are disinformation group. Okay, they named themselves white hats to confuse people. It's white knights or A-team that are the good guys. The white hats are a disinformation group.
Which is why they were dropped on Camelot. Yeah.
I don't pay any attention to them, so I don't know all the details, but I found out about them early on. And they put out a load of disinformation that almost gave me a stroke. And I went to the White Knights and they said, well, you should have, I said, here's about 4 things that they said that just really upset me. And they said, well, you should have quit listening after the first thing. I said, well, I can't do that. I've got a phone family to take care of, and I need to know all these things so I know what's happening. But no, the White Hats are a disinformation group.
Okay, that's fine. Have we still got East Coast on the line? Are you there, East? East
Coast, honey, are you there? I guess Kate is back, so Kate, go ahead, honey.
Yeah, no, I was just going to check the board there to see if. Nope, he is gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, he said he had to leave, so no worries. It's all good.
Yeah, I was just really wanting an answer on one of the questions, one of the pieces of information he put forward. The question was, I mean, the statement was basically that. It was about the first secret society. Now, and the question was, well, basically, where did the Knights Templar fit into his model, and what is the information that he knows about the Knights Templar if the Masons were the first secret societies, which they were not?
Well, the Knights Templar, as far as I know, are a dark agency. But here's the thing about the dark agencies, or the secret societies, if you will. They have all of them, even the good groups, have been infiltrated by the dark agenda, by the Illuminati, if you will. This infiltration of the dark on our planet, you guys, has gone so deep that if we didn't have the help of the galactics and the angels and God, whatever you call your God, however you like to think about God, if we didn't have that divine intervention, we would never, as humans, get this done. I am convinced of that. So, all of the secret societies, if they are secret, and of course we know now that secret societies are a buzzword for the dark agenda. If it's a secret society, it's a bad thing. But if there was a secret society that Saint Germain instituted many, many years ago, I'm sure he did it with the highest intent. I know that he created a huge worldwide trust fund for the people about 250, 300 years ago. So I know that he wanted to keep that pretty much under wraps. But, there's so many questions. We all have. Exactly.
Right. Now, one of the things that I happen to know is, as I say, now, the first promissory notes were written by the Knights Templar. They were called checks. And now, a lot of the Knights Templar organisations, about Jacques de Molay. He was roasted at the stake, and most of the Templars were killed because the Templars actually lent money to the kings and to the Vatican, and could basically undermine the entire religious situation because they knew the truth about the Christ, which is why they were actually condemned for trampling on the cross. It's all to do with knowing the truth about what's really going on, which is different to what you've been told is going on, which we all agree. But there is much more information without going into lots of different aspects of it at the moment. But if the Knights Templar had have released the information, this experiment we've called the human race, from the initial Knights of the Temple being the pyramids, not churches, not synagogues or anything else. The Knights Templar were Knights of the Temples. The temples were the pyramids. The Knights Templars kept the secrets of the pyramids.
Okay, that's a physical thing, Tony. The temples, I know, but the temples that they're talking about are not you can call it the pyramids or whatever, but the true temples, Tony, are left and right side of your head. Yes, those are the pillars of Hercules.
Yes, I know, but there's much more to this. yet.
All right. Well,
But
yeah.
the Holy Grail isn't just the Holy Grail that sat on top of the pyramid. It's also your pineal gland. And the Holy Grail of the alphabet is the letter Y, because of the word Y. There are multiple Holy Grails, but that's not the point. The point is I'm trying to qualify what I'm actually stating here. So one of the first secret societies was the Knights Templar, because they were the protectors of the information of the temple, the harmonics, the frequencies, the sacred geometry, and the truth about the Christ, which, because they kept that secret, this whole experiment was allowed to happen. And it was allowed to happen deliberately because we need to experience the situation we now find ourselves in. That's my point. Okay, I'll shut up.
All right. Well, I could take that to a whole brand new level, but let's go back to some basics here. You know, you talk about gold and silver earlier, right? What do they call when you're mining for silver and gold? What do they call those? They call them veins. They call them veins for a reason. You see, when we're dealing with Gaia, our mother, breathing creation, a being unto herself, and what we have done is we have stolen her consciousness. We have ripped the very veins out of her, and we have been trading her soul, her ability to receive consciousness. So you can take your gold cap off the pyramid, and they probably did what was supposed to be done with it, or Mother did it for herself, and she washed it off top of the pyramid, which is probably what happened, to put it back where it belonged. You see, Dean said something about a month and a half ago, and I took it to a different level. He had mentioned about when a banker shows up with a bag of gold, Dean said, well, we don't take that here because you can't eat it, but here's a shovel, there's the garden, get to work. And I said, well, that's a great idea, Dean. However, the first thing I tell that fucking banker is, you see that bag of gold you got there? You take it and put it back where it belongs. That's the problem we're dealing with. Because when we're dealing with gold, people, when we're dealing in the markets and the trading of the literal veins of our mother, think about what you're doing. That's consciousness, people. That is your mother's consciousness. It was there for a reason. That's why there's an abundance of gold on all planets. Has to be. It's part of the structure. It's fractal, isn't it, this universe? It's not that it's rare anywhere. But the only way you can take over a planet is if you take over the people. And then you harvest it. And in doing so, you take the consciousness of the mother. And our mother Gaia, for those that may not be aware of it, this is the repository of all wisdom and knowledge. This is the prize of prizes, people. We are at the Alamo. And it's going to be entirely up to you if you're going to stand back and let it happen, or you're going to take a stand somewhat similar to mine and say, not a fucking chance, not on my watch. So while we're dealing in all this stuff, and I'm not going to make less of anything. I'm just going to point stuff out the way I see it. To me, everything that involves money in any way, shape, or form is a trap. Okay, because it started off very, very, very gradually. And Carol, you made a beautiful point. It is a drip by drip. You see, because back in the day, way back in the time of the pyramids, I can't remember the guy's name, and I had the whole list. But basically, what it was a list of what people got paid. A carpenter, for example, would get 4 grains of silver per day. A general laborer would get 2 grains. Renting of an oxen for a day was 2 or 3 grains of silver. Grains, guys. The American dollar that was in the Constitution was measured at 371 grains. That was $1, right? That was what they termed it, a thaler, dollar. And look what we've done. So we've taken, now we start thinking about what $1 is actually worth in terms of when they first started. You take that let's say an average of 3 grains of silver per day for a decent workman. And what do you have? You've got over 100 days pay in one single dollar. All right? So we better start looking at what things represent. Because when you look at it for what it is, you're missing the obvious. And I can demonstrate it as simple as a coin toss. I can take a coin and flip it in the air and call it heads or tails. Let's say it's a silver dollar, just for argument's sake, because I just said it. You take a silver dollar and you flip it, and you call heads or tails, and someone calls heads, it hits the floor. I say, okay, well, what is it? And they'll say, well, say it turned up heads. Well, it's heads, I win. Says, no, it's a dollar. You forgot about the tails. It's got both sides of that same coin. And you got to start looking on the other side of the looking glass, because I'm sick and tired of watching people rape my mother. I was part of it. No more. No more. Money is the root of all evil. What are roots? The things that trees have, plants. It's what we call when we put our feet somewhere. We place our roots. So money is the root of all evil. So it came from the ground. Time to put it back. And that's what these banksters need to do. That's why we got to stop trading. We're trading in the life of our mother. I'm not doing that. I'm barely surviving as it is. I loathe it. You want to talk about not having abundance? There's probably a reason behind it. My abundance is different. My abundance is love. And I love my mother. And I will not be party to destroying her any longer. So all these little schemes and all these little tricks and all these little things that people get involved in, have a look at the bigger picture. Everyone's going, what, where, when, how? And I'm the only one asking why? Why? I'm a 5-year-old, guys. At least I'm in kindergarten. I got out of nursery school. Okay? So I'm not going to elevate myself to anything beyond that. But I'll tell you this right now. Everything I needed to learn, I learned in kindergarten. And I'm here right now, and I'm learning that most of the people I know, most of the people I see interact with, are not the kind of people I want to be. So I'm trying to be the difference. And I wish you would too. I really do. Yes, we got things coming down. Things are happening. But you better have your eyes open. And you better not be caught in the illusion. You better not look at it and go, that's because of this and that's because of that. But you better at least ask the question why. And you better look at it from a dozen different perspectives. Because I guarantee you, if there's 100 perspectives on it, 99 are false illusions. Beware the false prophets. These are the end times. And by the way, if Ariel Sharon dies before May 15th, we're still caught in the timeline. I'm doing my damnedest to make sure we're not. Rant over.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to thank both you and Tony for your calls, because I have learned so much. I have had my mind opened up even more, and my heart and everything. And I hope everybody that's listening on this line tonight has had an awakening of sorts, whatever the sort is that you have awakened to by anything you've heard on this call tonight. I hope that you are opened up. That's the most I can hope for. That you don't say, oh, well, that can't be true, blah, 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 blah. No, just say, well, I'm not sure about it. I'm going to be neutral on this until I have more information. And then, like Kate says, start asking. Present yourself as a 5-year-old or a 2-year-old. 2-year-olds are good about asking why. Why? Well, because I said so, and I'm your mother, and that's the way it is. But anyway, start asking why. And as far as raping our Mother Earth, and as Kate has brought to your attention, you must be aware that oil and gasoline is going to go away. That is one of the biggest rapes of Mother Earth that we have done as people on her body of the earth, and that is going to go away. So don't be going out and buying $200,000, $300,000 cars, because that is going to go away. Of course, there'll hopefully be a way to retrofit them from oil and gas to water. But
there is.
What?
Yeah, there is, and there always has been. It's all just been suppressed. We won't be needing cars.
Well, yeah, we're going to be teleporting. We're going to have our own shuttlecraft and that kind of thing, but that's further down the line, I think. But as far as the gradual turning loose of all these things, I think that the oil is going to go away pretty darn quick. So if you hold Iraqi dinar, don't be counting to hold that for many years, because we don't know when the oil will cease. I hope it's very quickly. But, eventually we're going to be teleporting. And if you haven't got that in your little quiver of arrows yet, put that in there and study on it. Teleporting. That means that as you think it, as we go into the 5th dimension, folks, from this dimension that we're in, we're going to be able to read people's minds So you better clean up your act, because if you have something against somebody and you come across them on a sidewalk somewhere and you're thinking some bad thoughts about them, they'll be able to tell what you're thinking. And that's coming too, but that's not going to happen right away. But just be prepared for that. But as you think, oh, I'd like to go to Grasse, France and go to the perfumery or something and whatever, or go see Switzerland or whatever, you can teleport there. In a few seconds you'll be there. And so I know that you're all saying, oh, well, this lady's crazy. Well, maybe you think I am. But maybe you might want to start Googling some things or doing a search for some of this stuff you've heard tonight. And check it out for yourself. Don't trust me. I've already told you I've got feet of clay. I'm just sharing things with you that I've been taught. So check it out for yourself. Don't believe any of us. Do it yourself.
Absolutely.
Put your big boy pants on.
I'm just going to jump in for a sec, Carol, because we're sitting about
That's all right.
7 minutes.
Go ahead, honey. Thank you very much for tonight. We love you.
Oh, no, we're not done yet. I'm just like to make sure that I get on the air with my thanks and gratitude for criticalmassradio.co.uk, Paul, Lisa, through Critical Mass for providing this platform that you can all call into and piss me off right at the start. But anyway, there you go. No, it's been great, guys. Yeah, I can't thank Paul and Lisa enough, and of course Tony was the one that made that connection, and it all fell into place exactly when it was supposed to, exactly when it was meant to. But the one message I do want to convey while we have everyone listening: the deceivers are everywhere, and the most deceptive individual that you know is you, because you have been indoctrinated and trained. You see, from birth, your canvas has been spat on, shit on, religiocosis, chosenitis on. You have been indoctrinated into an economic system, into this system, that system. What is a cyst, guys? Do you want them? I don't know about you, but if I ever got a cyst, I wouldn't be wanting it. So let's get rid of the cyst M and throw it away. All right? This is about unconditional love. This is about sharing, and this is about growing up, and just like Carol said, putting on your big boy pants or your big girl skirt. Okay? So, and I'm going to speak like this because sometimes when my intention is to not be condescending, but rather to sound it, the message carries through because I talk to myself like this. You know, I give myself shit all the time. Here's a movie you need to watch. You need to watch The Sphere. You can get it on Movie 2K, I believe, is the thing. But anyway, Google it or find it. I watched it the other night, and it is a perfect representation of exactly why most of humanity isn't ready for their God pants. Here's the question you need to ask yourself, and it's a question I've asked myself many times. Are you willing and capable of being a God? Or would you screw it up by making a misthought and destroying a planet? Because you were angry, because you were pissed off at something or someone. Are you ready for that responsibility? I know I sure as hell ain't, but I'm working towards it. See, that's the ideal that I work towards, that when my thoughts manifest, and they do, just like yours do, think about what you think about on a daily basis. Would you want that manifesting around you? Would you want your worst fears and nightmares to be able to manifest like that? Would you want that? Or do you think you might need a bit more training of your own to look inside yourself to say, well, no, I'm not quite ready for that because I'd probably, conjure up a dragon and it would kill me or something. Yeah, you probably would. So I would highly recommend watch the movie The Sphere, and you'll get an idea of exactly what it is I've been talking about for years, long before radio. Because one of the things that I did understand very early on was that we are co-creators, and that which we think we create. Have a look around the world, and you'll see what you have created. I'm part of it. I'm trying to make my part of it different now, just as you all are, just as we all are as a collective. What we need to understand is that we need to grow up, and we got to stop beating people up. You can walk around, and you can be Second Amendment this, and I have my rights, and you can play their silly little game if you want. You can play in their sandbox for the rest of eternity if you wish. 'Tis not mine, but I will grant you yours. You see, I will not trespass in free will choice. I believe in the golden rule. And that which is done to me by another is what that other is going to experience. And I only have 2 questions I ever ask myself anymore. And those 2 questions are this: is that something I would do or something I would not do? It makes life so much simpler. And as soon as people can actually have the ability to stand in those 2 questions, and I mean stand in it, regardless of what the results may be, just because it forces you out of your lazy boy chair, makes you put down your Diet Coke with aspartame poisoning and your big bag of fattening Dorito chips full of monosodium glutamate and all sorts of other DNA programming things. And don't forget, throw in your death eating as well. Eat your cow, become one. Eat your chicken, well, aren't you? And how about you just eat some more pig and become that? You know, you are what you eat, you are what you think, you are what you create. What are you creating? And are you ready to be God? I'm not. But I'm working at it. Rant over.
I sure do love you, Kate. You've really become a hot spot in my life in the last week or 2 that I've learned about you, and you speak so beautifully. You have such a beautiful heart, and I hope that people see that in you. I hope that's all they can see in you is your beautiful heart. And don't forget, everybody, God gave us anger. That's one of the blessings that He gave us. It's like the regulator on a pressure cooker. You need to experience anger when you need to experience anger. Just don't hurt anybody with it, okay? Go into a quiet place and say all the things that you need to say, or, appreciate what Kate does here to get you used to some of those pressure cooker relieving words. You know, everybody says, oh, you can't say that. That's not Christian. Well, they're just words, for crying out loud. And there's one word that begins with F that's a real good one for me. It's a real release, pressure release. But I try to do it within my own confines, when I can. Every now and then one will slip out, but that's okay too. Maybe somebody needs to wake up and grow up. We need to grow up, everybody. We need to be creatures of love. And in the Bible, it says, know ye not that ye are gods. So God Himself tells you that you're part of Him. He has given you the spark of Himself so He could experience things on this earth. And when you're happy, He's happy. When you're sad, He's sad. When you're angry, He hardly ever gets angry. That's a misnomer too. But He experiences that feeling. And so know the power that you have. There's a wonderful, there's 2 words. What's that ancient language, Kate or Tony, begins with an S. My mind went blank.
Sumerian?
Now. No, not Sumerian. It goes way back further than that. It's
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. Thank you. There's 2 words, and when I got involved in this movement, I heard this one word, namaste, and I thought, holy cow, what did I get into? This sounds awful. I don't know what this is. It may be demonistic or something. When I found out that it means I honor the divine in you as you honor the divine in me, I thought, oh, wow, I like that. And then there's another word that I've picked up along the way, too. It's called espavo, E-S-P-A-V-O, and that means thank you for taking your power. And that's what we're asking all of you tonight, at least I am. Please take your power. Thank you for taking your power, espavo. And we love you folks, and thank you so much for coming to this call tonight and listening to the messages that were given to you. I hope that it enhances your life experience on this planet, and I hope that you don't go away from this call in fear. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear, and when you fear, you feed the dark agenda. You give them more ammunition, more juice to continue doing what they're doing. So stay out of fear. Get into love space from your heart. Love everything, and if you can't love, ask God to help you love. God, I can't love these people, but please, will you love them for me till I can love them? And Kate, I want to thank you and Tony for letting East Coast and myself be your guests tonight. God bless you both and everybody on this call and in the world. Thank you very much.
The gratitude is shared, love. I mean, it's this is how we do this. We do it together, and this is where we put all things aside. Where we sit around the round table and we discuss things and we talk openly as adults, and we learn to say that if something doesn't quite sit right with you, you might want to have another look at it before you fly off the handle. And that one's been for me. And one of the things that I do bring to the table, I get very passionate Because the only reason is this. There is only one. People are beating up my mother. People are beating up the very source of energy and life that keeps us all alive. And I will defend her to the death. And I will get nasty about it. Because I'll tell you, if I walked up to any of you and did the things to your mother that you're doing to ours, mine, yours, all of ours, I think you'd get a little pissed off too. So it's time to change that perspective. It's time to turn that mirror around and stop looking at what can I get out of my mother. Well, you got a body, didn't you? You got somewhere to be with it. You want more. You want to rape and pillage her. You want to empty your bowels of oil. What, you're giving mom arthritis, guys? How do you think the tectonic plates are supposed to move smoothly and keep her able to grow? When we take the oil out of her, what we're doing is we're like draining her blood. Because when you think back to the time of the dinosaurs, 65 plus million years ago, this planet was probably maybe a little more, might even be a little less than 2/3 of its size right now. She grows. This is what happens. Mother grows. Everything in this universe expands. That's what creation is. It's about expansion. So how about you expand yourself a little bit? How about you expand beyond your general meat stick vicinity and start realizing that, whoa, I've got family around me, and whoa, I've got neighbors and everything else. You see, because that's what I was experiencing. And I got an email text back from my daughter last night, and one of the overlying themes of it was the fact that I abandoned her, my oldest and my youngest, and Sue, because of the work I was doing. And quite the opposite was true. You see, what I saw at first, and this was part of my own transition, what I saw at first was, and this is going back to the days of, gathering silver and whatever. And as I gathered more and more of it, thinking, of course, like in old school, in the old brain, profit, right? Or at least having something put aside so I didn't have to work for the, 90 years. But what I noticed was I'd gathered up enough to take care of me. And then I gathered up enough to take care of my whole family. And then as I gathered more, I started thinking more and more outside the box. I said, look, I can take care of a whole bunch of my family. I can take care of, my at the time, my wife's family and everybody else. And then that grew and grew and grew to the point where it says, hey, I'm good for at least a city. If silver is going to do what it's supposed to do, I could take care of a lot of people. And of course, that's all gone, and for a reason. You see, universe works in strange and mysterious ways. And what happened with me was it had to be taken, and it had to be used. And ironically, most of it was used just to keep me alive. Well, me and Sue and my daughters. That kept us going until a little over a year ago, the 1892 Bankers Manifesto came knocking on my door with a SWAT ram 2 hours after they kidnapped me at gunpoint. You see, I'm dangerous. I am very, very dangerous to the system, and they know it. They knew I was coming. Oh, they've known for a long time. They've known Kate of Gaia was going to show up, and they want to do everything in their power to shut her down. Hell, they'll even give her a wrong body to begin with. But that's a clue, right? That was just a clue. And I have my clues. My clues are very simple. June 15th, that was my birthday. Magna Carta was signed on that day. My original initials were WKT, which if you slow it down and speed it up, you got to look in the mirror. WKT. Oh, good clue. Wow. Of course, my family motto, Thompson, Nosca T Ipsum. Oh, know thyself. Oh, my initials again, KT, Katie. It's all there. You follow the yellow brick road. You pick up your breadcrumbs, Hansel, and you pick up your breadcrumbs, Gretel. And you pay attention to the present, because everything that is around you right now is already present. That's what the present is. It's not. You don't pronounce it present. It's present. We've already traveled through this. That's what deja vu is. Those are your checkpoints. I had 2 the other day. We're on the right timeline. We just got to hold the line now. So we hold. And the only way we can hold that line is to keep our frequencies high, and that we don't get caught up in the illusions of this system and all of the rat traps that are set out there to get us convinced, keep us in that ego left mind, to keep us in that greed, that want, that lust. Okay, you can talk about fear. I agree with you totally, Carol. But let's expand it a little bit. Let's include everybody. Because I'll tell you right now, most of the worst people on this planet don't have fear. So they got other things that are negative. So let's just take all those negative energies, the fear, the lust, the greed, the wanting to hurt others, the intense anger and hatred and all the rest. You take all those emotions, yes, experience them, get through them quickly, and do not manifest out beyond thyself. Okay? Turn the other cheek. That's what they're trying to teach you in that one. You know, you can talk about an eye for an eye, because what you're doing is when you pluck out an eye of another, you're plucking out your own, you fucking moron. All right? So I need you to pay attention here. And I use that word very, 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 very proudly, because I just got your attention. What's the other one? If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. Let me translate that for you. That means if you're doing something that is not good and is harming you, stop doing it. It's not rocket science, people. You see, look around kindergarten. Sit around a class for a change and start observing the children for, what the kids are doing. And you'll start looking and seeing yourself in a grown-up form. You've just changed the playground from, Barbie dolls and Tonka trucks to corporate backstabbing, to forcing your way up the competitive corporate ladder. And what are you doing to get there? Well, you're generally using golf cleats and climbing up someone else's back. You're either bad-mouthing or backsliding somebody to do that. You're looking outside of yourself to blame everything that has happened to you on everything but the only source of problem that exists, and that is you. You need to stand in front of a mirror for 10 minutes. Better yet, I'm sure a lot of people, and I know when they get the archive, we cracked 100,000 tonight, guys, 102,000 tuned in, and we're not even done counting, okay? So I know that this message is getting out, and I'm going to run this as long as I can, because I know that there are going to be a shit pile of archive downloads, and I need people to get this truth. I need you to see who and what you really are. I need you to understand what you are doing to me, what you're doing to your family, what you're doing to families all around this planet, because what you do, like Carol said, what you do to one, you do to all. And when you harm yourself, you're harming all as well. And I need you to finally understand that. I need you to put on the big girl shoes and the big boy shoes and start walking. Take off the feet of clay. That's beautiful, Carol. I love that. These are the things that I'm trying to reach into you. I'm trying to get you to see how important and how beautiful you are if you would but take that tricky little bastard called ego off. If you would take that belligerent, fighting piece of garbage mentality that has been indoctrinated into you since birth and remove it. If you can take away the fact that you were forced into churches your whole lives, and I'm speaking to Christians, Muslims, Jews, I don't care, whatever religion, I brand them all the same, fucking useless. Absolutely useless. Because I'll tell you right now, any parent that would take a child and throw it up on a tree or a cross and nail its wrists and feet and go, look what I can do for humanity, I'm going to look at that God square in the eyes and I'm going to say, fuck you, asshole. And I'm going to take that child off the cross and I'm going to nurture it back. That's the God that I know. That is love. And I will fight to the death for it. And I mean that. That's why I scare the system. That's why a judge bowed to me once. Because that motherfucker knew who I was. Better yet, he knew that I knew who I was. That's why he bowed and ran. Cowards do that. When you stand in the face of idiots without fear, they run. And I've looked down the barrel of a 9mm, and I'll tell you, the guy holding it was nervous. And I wasn't even armed. But he was nervous. I could feel him. I'm an empath. I feel people. And I felt the terror. And I've also felt all the indoctrination coming from them. Did I scream and yell and kick? I said, no, I'm just going to let this puppy roll. Cost me my house. I fought to the bitter end, guys. And I will fight to the bitter end, but it won't be. It'll be sweet. At least the ending I see in my movie is beautiful. Because I decided to change it. I decided to write it for myself. What I need you all to understand is that you are absolutely responsible for absolutely everything in your existence. And the minute you reach out to blame somebody else for something that happened to you, and I've taught many people these experiences through my own giving, and I've watched them fail all by themselves, and it didn't cost them a dime, it cost me. But that was worth it to me. Because as I help others realize these lessons that they cannot blame anyone but themselves, that is priceless. And no amount of paper, silver, gold, or anything on this planet can pay for that. That's an eternity one. That is a butterfly flapping its wings and creating a tsunami through the universe. Never mind going across an ocean. No, I chose to stand in truth. And until you do, you're going to spin your wheels and you're going to reboot and do the cycle all over again. And if you're really enjoying this ride, guys, if this is your idea of a good time, have at her. Keep doing exactly what you're doing, because that's what insanity dictates. Keep doing it over and over. Keep doing all the same things that you've been doing for eons. Right? And at the end of the day, Pinocchio, you won't be a real live boy. You'll end up like the rest of the kids in the carnival. You'll be an ass. You'll grow ears and you'll just eat-aw your way out of existence. And who knows? Maybe one day you'll get to be a rock again. Keep at it and you will. I mean, there's consciousness in everything. Of course it is. It's all energy. Everything is energy. Everything is consciousness. Everything is spirit. Everything is of creation, of creator. So how about we put down our swords and pound them into plowshares to the point where we become light again, where we're not consuming the light, we are creating it. You see, that's why they call you consumers, because that's all you do. You take. You strip mine this earth. You punch holes in her. You know, if you're driving a gas guzzling pig of a car or whatever, and you have 2 or 3 sport utilities and this and that, and look at how much energy you have to use and how much damage has been done. I feel bad enough having a little 4-cylinder that I drive very, very rarely, and only when I absolutely have to. You know, there's some people that could walk to work, but they'll get in their car anyway because it's a lot better and their fat ass is more comfortable. You know, if you walk to work, you won't have a fat ass anymore. You'd probably be uncomfortable sitting in a chair, especially after you've sat in it for a while and widened it. You know, these are the things that we have to be mindful of, guys. Yeah, am I lecturing you? I'm lecturing me too, because these are things that I get ingrained in me. When I speak, I'm listening. You see, this is the difference. Most people don't even hear what comes out of their own mouths. They walk around and, well, look how smart and intelligent and important I am. Blah, blah, shut up. You know, Bill Hicks had it right. I can hear your internal dialogue. You're wrong. Get over it. Shut up. Stop. Just stop. Take the time. Spend some time with you. You might not like you for a little while, but I guarantee you'll learn to love you. I know I do. But then again, I don't see the facade. I don't see the meat stick and the bullshit you bring to my table. I see you eating like a pig at my table. And I'm going to slowly but surely, just as I have taught myself, just as I have been taught by all the lessons I've walked through in this life, I'm going to teach you how to use a knife and fork again. And I'm going to teach you that you don't have to put everything on your plate, because there is plenty for all. This feast was set a long time ago. It's all paid for, guys. The wine is chilled. Everything is waiting for you. Belly up, but be mindful of others. That's why I got so irate at the very beginning when people just weren't paying attention. And they just kept piling in and piling in. Got to get to the table. I got to eat. There's plenty of room. And if you can't find your way to the table, don't worry. We deliver. It's called an archive. You see? Drive-through truth. Got to have my 2-minute burger or I'm going to get really pissed off. Sorry. Truth takes a little bit more preparation, takes a bit more time. You'll enjoy it, trust me. Oh, this way you get to chew your food instead of inhaling it like you usually do. And I'm saying these things not because I'm angry at you. I'm not saying them because I don't like you. I'm saying them because I love you. And I need you to see the same things I saw in me. And you need to change. You got to be the change you want to see. And you need to ask yourself the question as you stare deeply into that mirror tonight. Am I? Am I being the change that I want to see? And I'll guarantee you, unless you're a liar, you're going to say no. I can look in my mirror and say, at least I'm trying. At least I'm making the effort. Did I do everything in my power to change everything I wanted in my own universe today? God, no. Not even close, but I changed some things. And it's baby steps, guys, baby steps. I'll tell you a couple of little baby steps to help you along. You know, you don't have to do what I do. You don't have to take on the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and London all at the same time, and the Rothschilds. I did. Doesn't make me special. Just makes me not caring, no fear. But I'll tell you what you can do, and it works very simply. Stop signing your name. That's the spiritual power, because you were claimed at birth. I talked about this last night. Grab the archive from last night, get yourself educated really quick, and you better start realizing that all the frauds that have been created on this planet are fucking your fault. My fault, your fault. And these guys have been laughing at us for centuries. Many, many centuries. Countless centuries. Time to stop. It's time to get on with things, okay? So stop signing stuff. Get rid of, stop doing things out of habit. Stop using credit cards. What do I need? Shut up. I don't care what you need. You don't need it. Because I'll tell you, the very next thing, you're gonna go shop at Walmart or some other fucking box store, and you're gonna buy something, and you know what you just bought? I'll tell you what you just bought, and we'll ingest, at which point you're ingesting poison anyway, and it's going to pretty much be the same thing. But what you went and picked up, say last weekend, you know what you bought? You bought landfill. That's the reality. Because eventually it's going to be there. And especially if it's made in China, it'll probably be there in a couple of weeks. Or you'll take it back where it's going to get sent back to the manufacturer where they'll put it in the landfill. Or put it into recycling. These are the things that you need to understand. Start looking down the line. One of the things you could learn from our beautiful indigenous peoples, of which we all are in a certain way. But let's go back to the ancients. They wouldn't do anything without realizing the ramifications for 7 generations. Not 7 years. Generations. 300-400 years. And I'll tell you, if you want to affect a future generation, do yourself and do the rest of the planet a favor. Get out and plant an apple tree. Because I guarantee you may be able to have some of those apples this lifetime. But I'll tell you something. If you don't, someone else will, and God bless you. Because I'm doing what I want now. So if I have to come back to this place because of the mess to help clean up your fucking garbage again, I want to make sure that at least it's a little better, and I got a tree waiting for me when I get here. That's how I think. I think of future, past, present, because it's all the same thing. How about you get in the now moment? Step into your own future. Stop living in the past. And all because I love you. That much. Fair? Or am I alone?
More than fair, my dear. More than fair. It's very generous, it's loving, it's kind. I hope you folks that are still listening are seeing the depth of love in Kate and the wonderful wise words that she brings to us. She's got a very high IQ. I just know it. I can tell it. She's very well learned. Listen to her speech. She's not a stupid person. She's very well thought out. She thinks things through. She's been through lots of terrible experiences, and she's bringing that to you to help you on your walk for a better future for you and your children and your future generations. There's a lot of love on these calls that she does, she and Tony and Santos do. They give a lot of themselves, and I do hope that you appreciate who you've tuned in to tonight and listen to this beautiful group of people, Tony and Santos, who's on Friday nights and sometimes other calls too. But Kate is the spoke that pulls the wheel, and this is a wonderful, wonderful call for you people to be on. She's on every night, same time, same phone number. Don't miss a call if you don't have to. But spread the love. Spread the love. Get it. Get it in your heart and spread the love. She's giving it to you, and I love it. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, Kate.
Hey, no problem. It's what I share came at great personal cost. I guarantee it came at more cost than most people would be willing to part with 1% of. And I mean that not in the monetary sense, guys. This cost me everything. The lessons that I bring to the table. At one point, I got to tell you, my dad had to leave in order for me to uncover the full truth of the birth bond. And I got that one because I had to take his ashes back home as part of his last will and testament. And I got a passport on my terms because I exposed the fraud, and guess what? They admitted it. So, I mean, these are just things that I found out. You can use them or not. I challenge anyone to take anything I say and go and investigate it. If you prove me wrong, come back and tell me. I'd love to know. Because I'm looking for the truth, too. I'm looking for what we can do to bring everybody together, to bring everybody to the same table, finally, where we're all sharing and laughing and having a good time, where everyone has enough to eat.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the point. I mean, this is the same sort of thing, and, let's get it done. Let's get it finished. Let's get it sorted once and for all. This is the point.
Yeah, I've had enough. How about you guys? Hey, do you want, I'm not sure how much time we have here. What do we got? We probably have about 40 minutes, so I'm going to crack open some lines, see if people want to jump in, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say as well, I mean, Richard Gilbert, my brother, my younger brother, he had to leave in order for me to write the book, in order for me to actually be pushed to a situation whereby I actually wrote this book, and that's why I dedicated to Richard. So, always will and always do love you, bro. And I know you're there, so it's all cool. But yeah, we've all lost somebody on this trip, Kate.
Yep.
And it's not been an easy road, not for any of us. Those that are fast as well.
No, so, absolutely not. Absolutely not, Tony. And this is why I tell people, we don't speak lightly. No, there's been. If you want to understand the passion, well, it's try losing a few people around you, and I mean in the grand scale. And there's another example. Tammy Pepperman, Thursday nights. She's had numerous people around her murdered for the information they were bringing out. But we're in a new game now. We're in a new paradigm. You see, because the frauds have been revealed one by one by one, and I know I've cracked a couple of them. And as a net result, you want to become an untouchable. It's very easy. Stand in truth and refuse to move. Then you have the shield of the universe around you. Nothing touches you or your family. No fear. It's wonderful being an untouchable because there is no fear. You just do what you do because you're standing in truth, and you won't yield. I've said my motto before, but for anyone new, we still got 24 callers on. We had actually at 53 at one point. We still got 24 callers on the line here. But here it is for me. Stand to post. I shall not yield. None shall pass. It's very simple. And you know what? When I have my days of doubt, and I have them every day, that's all I remind myself. I stand. I made my deal with the universe. I committed to creation. I committed to my mother. I said, I will walk this walk. Just keep my family safe. Just what I need. And that's exactly what I have. I have exactly what I need. I have the means to talk to you. I have the means to stay alive. And that's been pretty close for the last bit too. But that being said, I'm here. So we'll crack some calls here. Area code 612.
Oh, hi,
yeah.
It's me again.
Hey, how are you doing? Beautiful.
Yeah. Elizabeth from Minnesota. Minnesota, where the snow's melting.
Yay! And the kids are happy.
Yeah, 3-year-old. I'm practicing being 3-year-old with her again. Yeah,
you'll learn everything you need from her,
Uh-huh. Hey, okay, I'm just with you with everything you talked about, you and Carol, and it's good, the polarities, because, anyway, just my own trip right here. But my question is, and I'm wondering, and I'm still on this little journey, when you say it's all our fault because we let the world be the way it is now, and I know we're deceived, but I don't know, I'm up in the air on that. Is it really our fault? Let's trace it all the way back to when the earth was born, and then when the first people came, and, and the deception came, and did we even know the deception came? Did we even know that? And if we didn't, how could it be our fault? I don't know. I'm just going to toss that to you. Give me your 2 cents, huh?
That's a great question, and I totally get exactly what you're saying, because that was one I wrestled with for a long time. And the simple truth is, the simple truth is this: I'm here. Must be my fault.
Huh?
I'm here. I chose to be here, hon. We all did.
Me too. Yeah.
Right. So if you choose to be here, you knew what you were coming into. You knew the level of game you were playing. And it wouldn't be a game or a movie if there was no challenge. It would be rather boring. So we picked the hardest game in the universe. So of course it's our fault. We chose to play.
I get you there. But this must be a mind control thing then. Because when you said this is all our fault, my first inclination is, how could this be our fault? But what you just explained, I know that now, but you had to open my eye up again to that. That's weird.
Well, I'll tell you, that I agree with you too again, and this is where I love these questions, because these are ones I've asked myself. And what the hardest thing for people to find is the tricky little bastard called the ego. It makes you think it's you. It's a beautiful, beautiful program. It so perfectly mimics you. It gives you all the emotions, and it gives you all these wonderful things, and actually takes you over. That's the program. And when we find it, I'll tell you, the easy way to spot it is when somebody does something and you automatically go, hey, that's when you need to stop and go, wait a minute, who's answering this? And is the answer I'm going to give, is there going to be love in that? Because I know the tricky little bastard doesn't know much about love. I know I do, but I know it doesn't. So, there wasn't going to be any love in that. Oh, there you are, you little shit. And that's how you do it. And you got to work with yourself. You see, I've had many conversations with people, and I've on calls before, and I'll tell you, if you ever want to talk to people will talk to me. Funny enough, they will. It's really, I find that bizarre, but you know what I mean, right? Oh, don't talk to Kate. She'll rip your little bastard apart. And I will, because I love you. I love the most beautiful essence in this universe, you. And I will do everything in my power to take a chainsaw to that tricky little bastard and shred it. And if I'm successful, you will see through it. And you will finally go, oh my God, I'm beautiful. Yes, you are.
Uh-huh. That's called tough love, Kate. That's called tough love. I love it. Tough love is good for everybody.
Yeah, well, I'm not known for being gentle, but I am known for loving. And I want nothing but the best for everyone. And I won't tolerate anybody coming in and pissing in our pool. And that's what tricky little bastards do. They come in and they go, tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. And sorry, my pool's got the dye in it that can tell who it is.
Yeah.
So it's a great question, and that's a tough one because for everyone, me included, I was there. Okay, I'm not speaking because I know it. No, I don't. I know my limitations, and that's where I've learned to look in the mirror and make that my judge. I won't listen to other people judge me. I will listen to what they're saying, and then I will take it back for me, and I'll go and have a look at it. And go, and I take my time. Oh, I'll fly off the handle some nights on the radio and stuff to get a point across, to make sure that people understand where my passion is coming from, and to make damn sure that people know I'm passionate about it. So it doesn't make me right. It doesn't make me wrong. But what it does do is it makes me me. And I'm okay with that. You don't have to like me. You don't have to love me. You don't have to take anything I say, and you can take whatever you want. I don't really want to be painting on your canvas, because your canvas is stunningly white once you clear it. And I will not come and shit on your canvas. I won't. But what I will ask you to do is go, truth is this beautiful thing that when you find it, it will resonate with you. And nobody can tell you otherwise, because when you know a truth, you know a truth.
You know it, yeah.
You don't believe a thing anymore. You start going, no, I know that. People say, well, what do you believe? So I don't believe a damn thing. I either know something or I don't. I'd either do that or I wouldn't. It's a very, that might sound very duality, but it's not. It is a singularity. Because what you're doing is you're finding the degrees of separation between good and evil. They're both the same thing. And they're only separated by, they're only separated by where you are on the scale.
Wow, that's good. That's good, yes.
Right? So I choose to move up the scale. No, great question. Awesome, Elizabeth. Yeah, so anything else you want to toss in, hon?
Oh, just we talk about balance and, swinging the pendulum and trying to get it in the middle for each of us. Just today, a friend called, and I don't know, a couple things she said. I call it a fax from heaven or a download. But, when you spend time with yourself, you just sit down and think of things, and you think back just like your life in the last 2 years. I can see a balance. I mean, I don't even think of the past anymore. It's kind of like neutral, and the future is neutral. So I'm in the now, and we're in the now. And if we sit down and think, we can see how much we've changed, and we're going to still change and keep changing because we're limitless, right?
Absolutely, and that's the beautiful thing, because when you find that one more little thing about you and that one more little download and epiphany, you start seeing even more, and you go. Yeah. It becomes a game. Then it becomes something beautiful to behold, and you get motivated more and more. Truth is an obsession. It is. It's like a really bad habit. Sorry, I took up truthing. I'm addicted.
That's a good thing to be addicted.
I think so. It works for me. And for those, I haven't even mentioned this, for any of the new callers, I'm transgender, which means I'm, what's the best way to describe this? Most people get the reality with being born in a wrong body, a different essence for the physical manifestation that you end up in. But don't let the voice confuse you. Hell hath no fury when this bitch is spurned. Promise.
Oh, you're funny. Yeah.
Well, you got to keep it light.
You'll have to talk about that sometime. Your journey, sure. And how you, because that would be very enlightening. I mean, your story, I think, will awaken lots of people in many different levels. I don't even know your story, but yeah.
Well, again, it started, I was awake when I was born, and one of the things I will say about the way of the two-spirit, it's very confusing in this world until you come to terms with it, and that's the hardest battle. That's the war within. I spent a lifetime trying to prove myself wrong. There was something desperately wrong with me, and why was I like this? And oh my God. And the truth of the matter is that which was wrong with me was actually what was right with me. So I was given a gift. I was given a beautiful gift to walk between worlds. And it's like I was saying earlier in one of the Skype chat rooms. I said, I'd mentioned about Orion's belt. We need to steer towards Cygnus, not Orion. I said that earlier tonight. And someone said, Bug said in the room, said, well, I'm from Orion. Well, so am I. Well, someone has to join the team in order to figure out how it works to get down here to undermine it. So, as I said to her, I'm in deep undercover, baby. It wasn't enough just to be human. I had to come in here and really mess myself up. But there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all good.
Wow.
And here's a perfect ego breaker. If you say this to yourself enough times in a day, it actually works. But it shorts out the program. Seriously, say this to yourself. Okay. Everybody. Don't worry, you'll get over me. I did.
Don't worry, you'll get over me. I did. Ooh.
See? And it's a resonant frequency. And it really is, it's a powerful tool. It worked for me. I remember the first time I was on a stage when I said that. I thought, I got to remember that. That's perfect. Because I dealt with a lot of egos on stage and whatnot. Drove me batty. All about me. I'm a star. And I said, no, you're not. We all are. Get over yourself. Anyway, so I'll move on to another call, Elizabeth. A great hearing you, hon. You keep that torch high. I can see it from here.
Oh, thank you. Don't get burned.
No, that's what we need to do. We need to start lighting some fires under people. So get that torch going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you ever find you have issues with it, just give me a tinkle, and I will. I carry a flamethrower, so I can light a torch anywhere on this planet. I promise.
Glory.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you too, kiddo. And thanks for calling in. Don't forget, we'll probably have a quick show tomorrow night before QLP, so we'll maybe hear you and see you then. Okay, kiddo?
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Put you back on hold. We'll get some more lines open up here. All right, area code 215. Area code 21586. Oops, if I can get the bloody line open, that would be handy. Come on. Oh, come on. Yeah, I know it says press 1 if you want to get the host's attention, but there's nowhere on this board that you can get my attention that I've ever found, so it's nonsense. Area code 21586. Questions or comments?
That's me, I think.
That is you. Indeed it is. You don't have to think. You can know it now.
Yeah, this is Beverly in Pennsylvania.
Beverly in Penn, how are ya?
Hi, I'm fine. Maybe another answer to Elizabeth's question would be we're responsible because we're all one.
Oh, look at you. Well done. You get a gold star and get to go to the front of the class. And it's not made out of gold from the planet. It's just kind of a color thing.
Okay. Well, my question is, though, I couldn't get into the call until after East Coast left. Did he have any great revelations?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, the board has been full all night. It took me a bit just to get Carol, East Coast, and my co-host into the call tonight because it was booked before they could even get on.
Oh, so okay.
It was one of those
they told me the room was full. I couldn't go in.
Yep. So, and actually, I'm not sure how many can hold, but at one point we had 53 callers that I could see.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it was a busy night.
Did he say anything worth repeating?
It would probably be better if you grabbed the archive. That way you can listen to him for yourself.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Yeah, that'd be a lot easier. I hate speaking for anybody else. I'd rather let them have their words be resonating for others.
Right, yeah. And I hated to ask you to repeat anything anyway.
Oh, no.
So, no, I'll go to the archives. That'd be good.
Okay, well, Bev, that's great. And again, I wish I could tell you more, but he covered a lot of stuff, and we'd end up with another hour and a half worth of show just discussing that. Promise.
Yeah, right. Okay. Thanks, Kate.
All right, kiddo. Thanks, Bev. Appreciate it. All right, I'll put you back on hold here. We're still rolling until the clock runs out here. All right, we got area code 615. Let me see if I can get this to work. There we go. And the mic's coming up. It's there. Okay, area code 61544. Questions or comments? Okay, I guess that's that. Okay, I got to scroll down here. I got to tell you guys, this has been crazy for the last few nights. Again, this the first time we've crossed 100,000 tuned in tonight on our show at all. So this has been quite something. Okay. Yeah, it's you guys. This is what we're talking about. The angels are gathering, and guess who the angels are? They're you. Okay, Tony, how the hell did you get on the board and in my call too?
Yeah, well, that was a bloody situation as well. I had to be called in. It took me 15 minutes to bloody call in and get logged on.
Yeah, we didn't start the show until 17 minutes. I was begging people to try to hang up so I can get all you guys on.
Yeah, all right. I must have called in like 20 or 25 times. Each time I called in, it was like, sorry, the show's busy, or the show's full, so should I say.
Yeah, and of course, me in a panic, I got to swing back and forth on Skype, and then thankfully Carol called. I have another caller here, 316, area code 9931699. Your mic's open. Any questions or comments? Okay, guess not. And I just want to kind of end the show off here with people's input. So get as many people on here as I possibly can. Sorry it took me so long. I just got into I get into a certain headspace, and it's a literal download in real time. It's not me talking. That I can assure you. Area code 30397. 30397. Your mic is open. Questions or comments? Okay, now it's answering on that. So let's go to area code 81033. 81033. Oh, come on, open up. There we go. Hang on, it's coming. And there you are. 81033. Questions or comments? Okay, nothing there.
Just for Carol. just to let you know, while you carry on doing that, Kate,
Yep.
I'd love to touch base with you, Carol, off air, so we can go through some of the information that you've got, because there's a lot more. I've only really not even scratched the surface yet with regards to information that I'm holding, and that can be cross-correlated with the information you're getting. Okay?
Awesome. And,
absolutely. Kate will give you my phone number if you don't have it, dear. Call me anytime. Thank you.
Absolutely. There we go. And by the way, guys, when I unmute your mic, you will hear unmuted. Just like that, actually. Area code 313-84. So if you hear that unmuted, that's you. All right. Area code 313-84. Your mic is unmuted. And questions or comments? Nobody loves me tonight. Well, Beverly and Elizabeth do, so I'm happy. I'm good now. Okay, 817. I know who this is, I think. I'm pretty sure it's Chuck. Chuck, is that you?
This is Chuck.
I'm getting better. I'm starting to recognize some of these numbers.
If you don't mind, I'd like to make a statement. And I would like for you or Tony or whoever to expound on it, yes or no. I believe that we don't have to worry too much about the technology that is coming up, because I believe the technology comes from within us.
Okay.
Right or wrong?
Okay, well, actually, you're right and wrong. I'm going to say you're right. The technology is us. Again, Tony and I had this discussion earlier, so I'm thinking someone's going to ask this question tonight, and Chuck asked it. So go ahead, Tony, let rip.
Okay, Kate actually mentioned an interesting statement earlier, and that is the whole world is but a stage. And there's also, I can't remember his name, but go back many years ago, there was a famous patent clerk that actually came out and said everything that can be invented has already been invented, which correlates back to the same thing again, the whole world is but a stage, Shakespeare. And as it turns out, they're absolutely correct. But what you're referring to, which is fascinating, I can explain by saying technology is a crutch that we think we need, so we invent it. If I need a solution to do something, I'll invent one, and it mostly will be mechanical or, something to solve a problem, like an inventor would. The reality is, we're inventing these things because we've forgotten we don't need to invent anything to solve the problem. The actual fact of the matter is, we've got it within our inherent DNA, which is deactivated. 97-98% of our DNA is dormant, or junk. Junk is the term used by the scientists. Ha, ha, ha. The reality is, our DNA is turned off deliberately, and Kate mentioned this earlier in the show, about it's like giving a 5-year-old a loaded Uzi. You don't want to be thinking, I just want to, if you make the wrong thought when you're not equipped to handle it, and that manifests, it's not going to be good, is it? In other words, we could do some serious damage unless we're actually up to the point where we are responsible enough to use our true inherent God-given abilities. So yes, you're right, and that's my explanation of it. It's in our DNA. It always has been, it always will be, and it cannot be uncoded. It can be screwed up in our lifetimes and our future generations' times with things like genetically modified foods, but there are certain people on this planet who know how to correct that as well. I'm one of them. But anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I have one more thing I want to throw on top of that, Tony. It's all part of creation. What do you think makes worms smart? Well, they eat people. They get that DNA. It's a continuous cycle. Just throwing that in there just for fun. So,
that's nice.
Yeah, well, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You got to send it back, right? What a perfect place to put it. And everyone, why do we bury people? Well, one, they smell bad when they've been sitting around too long. And two, you're putting exactly back where it came from. And look what you're doing. You're taking that physical body, the luggage, Samsonite, American Tourist, or whatever you want to call it, and you're putting it back where it came from. And other organisms get to, oh, look at that. They get to partake of the DNA that ends up being part of them. So we either evolve up or we evolve down.
Yes. And one stage further, why do you think we've got headstones or tombstones? Because it actually anchors the spirit into the earth.
Yeah, that's why, I disappear. Good luck finding this meat stick.
This is why when you look at a Jewish graveyard, you'll find obelisks, because they do the opposite. They carry and not anchor it into the earth itself. Very complicated and very deep subject, but anyway, just throwing that in.
So does that help, Chuck?
Hey, yeah, and I just wanted to say I'm a little more enlightened than I was, and I really, really enjoyed the call tonight. Of course, Carol is a favorite of mine, and keep up the good work. I love it.
We will, I promise, to my last breath, my friend.
God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll move on down here, Chuck, and I know your number now, so yeah, I'll be popping you in the calls when you show up.
Thank you.
So there, no worries, my friend. Area code 512. We got about a little over 10 minutes left here, so I'm going to race down these as fast as I can. Area code 512, 79. First two numbers. Questions? Comments? I love you. Okay. Well, if they're trying to talk, nothing's working. No, that was going to be interfered. Area code 434. Area code 43471. Questions or comments? Okay, just listening. Area code 559. As soon as the other one goes back on hold, that'd be good. Oh, stop, will you? 55971. 55971. Wait for the unmuted. It's coming as soon as that click works. There we go. I think it's finally going. And there it is. 55971. Any questions or comments? Nope. And I know there's somebody waiting. I hope they get to me. I can feel it. I'm trying to get there. Area code 252. Come on, open up. There we go. Area code 25270. Questions, comments? I hear shuffling of feet. They're not at the phone. Okay, area code 94162. 94162. Questions or comments? Your mic is hot. No? Okay. We're going to get you. Don't worry. I can feel you. Area code 423. First two numbers 22. Area code 42322. Questions or comments?
Yes. I've really been enjoying everything I've been hearing and learning. How do I find the archives? You mentioned archives.
Well, okay. Are you on Facebook, by the way?
No.
Oh, you should be. It's a great tool. We love using it.
I'd always been wondering if it was a Big Brother tool. I had it for a while, and I deleted it.
Of course it is. How the hell do you educate them if you're not talking to them?
Oh.
Oh, I know, eh? Put it in the mirror, you'll see it better. No, it's. I was saying, use a tool, don't be one. Hey, Tony?
Oh, okay.
Syncrenicity.com has an archive with all the current shows in it, all of them, automatically.
Okay, so Syncrenicity.com for you is.
Syncrenicity.com,
yeah.
And then you go to archive. Then you go to radio, and then you click archive. They're all.
Yep. So join up. It's free. Syncrenicity.com. It's SYNCRENICITY.com.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. So that'll get That'll get you to the archives, and there are literally, if they've pulled in my archives from from a few years, there'll be probably a couple of thousand hours worth of listening. But keep it current, because we keep everything new and fresh.
Oh,
hey,
definitely.
Every day's now.
That's right. Yes.
And I'm, tomorrow what I'm hoping for, that everything I thought today was wrong, because it means I learned something.
Awesome. Oh, I love that.
Well, there's no ego in it, right? Because the thing is, if you're looking to be wrong, good luck finding an ego in that one.
Oh, yes.
And the only thing you're going to find when you prove yourself right, because you were looking to be wrong, is truth. All you'll find.
Oh,
so
wow.
There's a shortcut to the truth for you. Whereabouts are you calling in from?
Unicoi, Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee. I love Tennessee.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I was signed in Nashville, a musician.
I'm in the upper eastern, northeast part of the state, on the North Carolina line.
Oh,
yep.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Kentucky, Tennessee, the Carolinas. Oh my God, love that area.
Yeah, not everybody here is. Not everybody up here is a fundamentalist either.
Yeah, well,
there's a few of us that are not, but we're, not everybody is. So.
Well, you just proved it, right? And that's the thing about consciousness.
Yes.
Even the Bible thumpers in the Bible Belt, they're going to have to wake up. I
know.
They're coming with us, guys. Everyone's coming.
That's right.
we do this together. So, did you have any other questions or comments?
Not any I can think of for right now, but I will definitely be going back and listening to the archives. Thanks for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Honestly, thank you. See, you're the change that I want to see. So it's working. I'm changing me, and look what I'm getting. All these beautiful, beautiful parts of me and you and all of us together coming together. It's beautiful. Look at us winning. Oh, feel the win. You got to feel the win. It's so there. So I have to say thank you for calling in and being a part of this. So, and you'll be on the archive. Woohoo! Yay!
Yes.
Yeah, you're famous. I'm infamous. There's a difference. I prefer being infamous. But thanks for calling. I'm gonna move on to the next. We got about 5 minutes here, hon. But glad to have it. Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's see what we got here. We're probably going to run off the clock here, guys, so I'm not going to bother until the show just drops. We'll just keep going, and we'll end this one right on when Blog Talk says, that's enough. Kate, shut up. Okay. Area code, Tony says it all the time. Area code 70140. 70140. Questions or comments?
Somebody's got to say it.
Well, I know, absolutely. I need to be told to shut up once in a while. Makes me stop and meditate. I pick up my guitar and shit, and I go and suck my thumb in a corner somewhere. It's awesome. Area code 813-24. Area code 813-24. Questions or comments?
For third year, that'll be metering. You're not going to see him perform.
Someone's going to be going to the archives. Okay, there we are. They'll get to hear themselves in the background. Area code 954. Come on, click, click, click. There it goes. Area code 95455. Questions or comments? Okay, no questions, no comments. All right, fair enough. It's all good. We love you all. And I believe that is everybody that's left on the call. Yeah, we went from 53. We're down to 16 stalwarts. Look at you, troopers, hanging in there to the bitter end. I love it. All right. Okay, what do we got here? I guess that's it, guys. We're sitting with about probably 3 or 4 minutes left. So, Carol, I have to say a great big thank you to you and, of course, East Coast for coming on tonight and, just being part of the awakening where everyone gets an opportunity to awaken.
Thank you for letting us be part of your show, my dear. We love you so much. Keep up the good work, and a lot of people love you a lot. Thank you.
Well, that's their mirror shining, hon, because all it's proven to me is that they do love themselves, and that's all I need to hear. So, we're all making the difference. We're all being the change, and it's the baby steps, and like Elizabeth said earlier, I'm all about tough love, and it's not because I want to be. There's nothing I'd love more than to not be that, but I had to do it to myself, and gosh darn if it didn't work. If it didn't snap me out of a cold spell, it snapped me out of a dream into a better reality, and I know things haven't been easy for lots of us, but I do know this, that it only gets better from here. And every day that we make these calls, and every day that we have you guys tuned in, listening, you are tuned in as a result. I cannot express the amount of gratitude I feel for that. And I'm not being cheesy, and I'm not being tacky. I'm being completely blunt, honest. I had a saying I came up with when I was a little kid. I think I was about 8 or 9. This is, I guess, one of the beginnings of my plays on words. To be blunt is to get right to the point. And I used to do things like that. I would, come up with little things, but that one stuck because it works. If you want to get through to somebody, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of bluntness. But I'll tell you, there is a trick to it. There is a major trick to it. The intention has to be pure. If there's any malice, malfeasance, negative energy attached in it, it'll blow up in your face. And that's how I learned to gauge it, because the more I delivered it with that beautiful intent that was given to me finally of an understanding of what unconditional love is, I've still got a long way to go, but I'm a long way down the road from where I was. It makes a difference, and you are the difference. Any last comments, Tony?
No, not really. I would just like to say thank you for everything you bring, Kate, and thank you for the listeners, and thank you, Carol, and thank you everybody that's phoned in. You're beautiful. You're wonderful, all of you, every single one of you. And thank you to everybody that's been helping out with Skype, the chat rooms, the Boston information that's been coming in. We've got so much help that's been volunteered. It's absolutely awesome. And I must tell everybody, go to Syncrenicity to look at the work that's been done and look at the effort that people have put in order to expose the false flag information